Chapter 195. Ling Xiao smiled. The phoenix hairpin wasn't the most precious item on Zhang Ye's stand. The most precious item was the bronze Buddha statue. Ling Xiao found a piece of animal skin map in the bronze Buddha statue. It was very similar to the one he had obtained in the fearsome Beast Mountain range. Ling Xiao had a faint feeling that when all the maps were collected, it was very likely that something unexpected would happen. Ling Xiao, the auction is about to begin. Ling Qingqing's eyes lit up as she pointed outside the box. In the middle of the auction hall, a white-haired old man walked up. His face was ruddy and he looked hale and hearty. His cultivation had reached level 9 of the Grand Master realm. He is Xia Rui, an elder of the Xia family. Although the Xia family is a royal family, they are also the largest family in the Great Wilderness ancient country. They have a strong foundation. Ling Qingqing pointed at the old man and introduced him to Ling Xiao. Xia Rui exuded a powerful aura and the noisy hall quietened down. Everyone's eyes fell on Xia Rui. Xia Rui smiled and cupped his hands towards the crowd. Welcome everyone to the Grand Desolation Auction House's auction. As an annual large-scale auction, the Grand Desolation Auction House has meticulously prepared many precious treasures. I believe it will not disappoint everyone. Alright, without further ado, let's bring out the first item. A pretty maid in a red dress walked up with a milky white jade box in her hands. There was a faint halo around it. The jade box was gently opened and a night luminescent pearl the size of a longan was revealed. It was as white as the moonlight and was full of spiritual energy. The deep-sea luminescent pearl was obtained by a sky-human realm expert after killing a rank 6 deep-sea clam demon. It can be used to clear one's heart and clear one's eyes. It can also gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and increase one's cultivation speed by 20%. It is an excellent cultivation aid. The starting price is 10,000 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones. Each bid must be at least 1,000 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones. Now, please make your bids. Xia Rui said with a smile. Everyone's eyes fell on the deep-sea luminescent pearl and they were pleasantly surprised. This was a treasure from a rank 6 demonic beast. No one had expected such a treasure to appear at the beginning of the auction. Many people's eyes were filled with desire. In particular, the eyes of many female martial artists, officials, and noblewomen all shined. Towards these sparkling jewels, none of them had any resistance. Even Ling Qingqing's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. I'll offer 10,000 Peerless Spirit Stones. 15,000. 20,000. Almost as soon as Xia Rui's voice fell, people began to scramble to bid. The entire hall was buzzing with activity. A single deep-sea luminous pearl would instantly make the auction extremely lively. Sister Qing, do you really like this deep-sea luminous pearl? Why don't I buy it and give it to you? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ling Qingqing rolled her eyes at him and said, you have so many spirit stones. Although this deep-sea luminous pearl is not bad, it is far inferior to the phoenix hairpin you gave me. The phoenix hairpin could increase one's cultivation speed by 50%, and it was a defensive treasure. Don't bid recklessly. The extreme divine essence isn't cheap. I heard that the moon god is here for it. The moon god. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up. The moon god had the extreme body. If she could obtain the extreme divine essence, it would naturally be beneficial to her cultivation. However, the extreme divine essence was the key to Ling Zhao's heaven-devouring secret skill. He did not intend to give it to anyone. Not even the moon god. When the price of the deep-sea luminous pearl rose to 200,000 Peerless Spirit Stones, the number of people bidding gradually decreased. In the end, the deep-sea night illumination pearl was sold to a plump man dressed in luxurious robes for 21 pinnacle spirit stones. He passed it over to a charming lady beside him, and the lady hugged it tightly in her embrace with an excited look on her face. In box number 13. A black-robed middle-aged man said respectfully to Chen Fengdao, young master, I've already investigated it. That brat and Miss Ching Ching entered box number 9. The old man following them is Master Jiao Mu. Master Jiao Mu. Chen Fengdao turned around, a trace of shock in his eyes. What's the relationship between Ling Xiao and Master Jiao Mu? How can he participate in the auction with Master Jiao Mu? However, since he dares to offend me, Chen Fengdao, I won't let him get anything today. When Ling Xiao calls out a price later, raise the price for me. Don't let him get a single item. A trace of hesitation appeared in the middle-aged man's eyes. Young master, won't this offend Master Jiao Mu? Master Jiao Mu? He, someone will deal with him. He won't be able to live for long. Chen Fengdao sneered. In box number 3, He Qing and a few other disciples of the Myriad Beasts sect were seated. Elder He, there is indeed a mental energy secret skill being auctioned this time. It's called the Miner's Soul Refining Technique. However, the person who sent it to the auction is very mysterious. Very good. Our target this time is the Miner's Soul Refining Technique. This kind of mental energy secret skill must not fall into the hands of Sun Moon Star. He Qing's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. Yes, Elder He. Ling Xiao is also here this time. He's in box number 9. I think he wants to buy some treasures to raise his cultivation. It seems like he's afraid of the life and death battle in a month's time. The disciple who spoke sneered. Ling Xiao. He's just a grasshopper after autumn. He won't be able to jump around for more than a few days. However, pay attention later. As long as Ling Xiao wants to bid for an item, raise the price. I want him to get nothing. A cold glint flashed across He Qing's eyes. The next item is a mid-grade weapon made by a profound weapon grandmaster, the Greedy Wolf Saber. I don't need to say much about the profound weapon grandmaster. Everyone knows that he's the only high-grade weapon grandmaster in the Great Wilderness Ancient Kingdom. The starting price of the Greedy Wolf Saber is 90,000 peerless grade spiritual stones. Each bid must be at least 1,000 peerless grade spiritual stones. The bidding starts now. Xia Rui's voice rang out. A pretty maid walked up with a pitch-black saber. The saber was 5 feet long and was as black as ink. The blade shone with a cold light. There were serrated edges and a blood groove on the blade. A strong murderous aura emanated from the saber. Many martial artists' eyes lit up when they saw the saber. The work of a profound weapon grandmaster was something that could only be obtained by chance. Furthermore, the Greedy Wolf Saber looked so domineering. It was a weapon that every man dreamed of. 110,000. 110,000. You want to buy the work of a profound weapon grandmaster? You must be dreaming. I'll bid 200,000, 250,000. Bids rang out one after another, and it did not take long for the price of the blade of the voracious wolf to be raised to 500,000 pinnacle spirit stones. The profound weapon grandmaster was too famous. The weapons that he made were all of the best quality. However, due to his eccentric temperament and excessive desire for perfection, there weren't many weapons in the market. In the end, the Greedy Wolf Saber was won by a level 7 Grandmaster for 820,000 peerless grade spiritual stones. It's Commander Li Kuei from the Royal Guards. I heard that he's a subordinate of the first prince, Xia Yunjie. With the Greedy Wolf Saber, he's like a tiger that has grown wings. Someone cried out in shock, as he had recognized the burly man clad in armor who had won the blade of Greedy Wolf. The next item is a low-grade weapon, the heavy mysterious battle armor. Chapter 196. The auction went on like a raging fire. Treasures were presented one after another, causing the crowd to scramble for them. Powerful weapons, elixirs, and some precious treasures were too much for the crowd to take in. Many people were willing to throw in $1 million. Through this auction, one could see how wealthy the royal capital was. After all, it was difficult for the Changsun sect to take out $1 million top-grade spirit stones. In this auction, many of the treasures were worth more than $1 million top-grade spirit stones. Ling Xiao also made a few bids. He took a fancy to a few elixirs, but in the end, he gave up because the price was too high. Young Master Ling, it seems like we're being targeted. As long as we bid, the 3rd and 13th rooms will raise the price crazily. Even if it exceeds the value of the items, they'll still try to get it. Master Jiao Mu said slowly with an ugly expression. Bastard! Who's targeting us? The 3rd room is so high up in the rankings. Could it be a prince? Ling Qingqing was also indignant. The elixirs that Ling Xiao took a fancy to were not expensive, but in the end, the people in the 2 rooms raised the price very high. The people in the rooms could not be seen from the outside, so Ling Qingqing and Master Jiao Mu did not know who was in the 2 rooms. Ling Xiao's closed eyes opened, revealing a trace of coldness in them. He used a secret spiritual technique and easily sensed that the person in the 13th room was Chen Fengdao. The aura in the 3rd room was very familiar. It was He Qing and the people from the Wanshou sect. In this case, it was easy to imagine why they were targeting him. Chen Fengdao might be because of Ling Qingqing, and He Qing deliberately did not want Ling Xiao to obtain any treasures that could increase his cultivation. The 3rd room is He Qing and the disciples from the Wanshou sect. The 13th room is Chen Fengdao. Ling Xiao said indifferently, his voice incomparably calm. What? It's them. Ling Qingqing's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of seriousness. Chen Fengdao was one thing, but if He Qing and the myriad beast sect's disciples wanted to target Ling Xiao might not be able to buy anything. After all, in terms of wealth, He Qing had the backing of the myriad beast sect, which was not something Ling Xiao could compare with. The Wanshou sect has gone too far. They don't want us to capture anything. Young Master Ling, what should we do now? If they also compete for the extreme Yin divine essence at all costs, we won't be able to compete with the Wanshou sect. Master Jiao Mu's expression was somewhat ugly, and his eyes revealed a trace of anger. It doesn't matter. Since they want to play, I'll play with them. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a sharp light flashed in his eyes. In private room number 3. Ha ha ha. Elder Crane is still the wisest one. Ling Xiao will definitely fly into a rage now that we've snatched these spirit herbs. Just think about it, his face must be very ugly right now, this is so satisfying. A disciple of the Wanshou sect laughed loudly. That's right. Ling Xiao still wanted to bid for treasures from the auction. You must be dreaming. The disciples of the Wanshou sect all sneered coldly. That's nothing. Next, pay attention. As long as Ling Xiao wants to bid for treasures, snatch them back for me. Elder Crane smiled faintly, and his voice was extremely cold. The next item is a dragon tiger pill. Xia Rui's voice rang out in the auction hall. This dragon tiger pill was found in an ancient relic. Its medicinal effects are well preserved, and it is an upper-grade pill. It can unconditionally increase a dragon tiger realm elite's cultivation by 3 levels. As the maidservant opened the jade box, a pale golden pill appeared in front of everyone. A rich medicinal fragrance filled the air, causing the spirits of everyone in the hall to shake. The medicinal fragrance slowly rose, and the illusory image of a dragon and tiger appeared in the air. It was extremely mysterious. As soon as Xia Rui finished speaking, the eyes of everyone in the hall lit up, and their breathing quickened. Top-grade treasure pills, moreover, they were treasure pills from ancient times. They were too rare and often contained incomparably miraculous medicinal effects. As for a dragon tiger pill that could unconditionally increase a dragon tiger realm's cultivation by 3 levels, many martial artists in the dragon tiger realm began to get excited. The starting price is 100,000 peerless spiritual stones, and each increment must be at least 1,000 peerless spiritual stones. Everyone, please start bidding. Xia Rui said with a smile, and there was a hint of pride in his eyes. He knew that once the dragon tiger pill appeared, there would be a fierce battle, and countless people would fight for it. Dragon tiger pill. Young Master Ling, the heavens are on your side. If you can get the Dragon Tiger Pill and increase your cultivation by 3 levels, you will have more confidence in the life and death battle a month later. You must get it. That's right. Brother, if anyone dares to fight with you this time, I won't let him off. You must get the Dragon Tiger Pill. Master Jiao Mu and Ling Qingqing's eyes lit up, and they began to get excited. In private room number 3, He Qing's eyes flashed, and he said coldly, "You must not let Ling Xiao get the Dragon Tiger Pill. No matter the cost, you must get it for me." In private room number 13, Chen Fengdao's eyes also revealed a hint of coldness. Dragon Tiger Pill, huh? I believe Ling Xiao is starting to go crazy, right? But I won't let you get what you want. Increase the price as much as you can. In the hall, people began to bid. It started from 100,000 peerless spiritual stones, and it soared all the way to 500,000 peerless spiritual stones. Ling Xiao stared at the Dragon Tiger pellet. His eyes flickered, and the corners of his mouth curled into an inexplicable arc. "Young Master Ling, hurry up and bid. These people are too crazy, we must get the Dragon Tiger Pill." Master Jiao Mu couldn't help but urge. "Alright, let's bid then." Ling Xiao smiled faintly, and his clear voice rang out. "I bid 1,000,000 peerless spiritual stones." The moment Ling Xiao's voice rang out, everyone in the hall was stunned. They looked up and saw that the bidder was from private room number 9. Who was the person in private room number 9? To think that he would call out a price of 1,000,000 peerless spirit stones. One had to know that this price was close to the true value of the Dragon Tiger Pill. This voice. It's so familiar. I know, he's Ling Xiao, the one who defeated Shi Tianluo from the Myriad Beasts sect. Someone exclaimed, recognizing Ling Xiao's identity from the voice. It's him. I heard that he's only in the first level of the Dragon Tiger realm, and he defeated the true disciple of the Myriad Beasts sect, Shi Tianluo. What a monster. But it's a pity, I heard that he's going to have a life and death battle with the disciples of the Myriad Beasts sect in a month's time. No wonder he's so determined to get the Dragon Tiger Pill. It's a matter of life and death. Everyone was discussing animatedly as a strange look appeared in their eyes. Chapter 197. Alright, room 9 bids 1,000,000 peerless grade spirit stones. Is there anyone else? This is a pill that can raise a Dragon Tiger Realm cultivator's cultivation by 3 levels. If you miss this chance, you won't have another chance. Xia Rui's face was flushed red, but his heart was blooming with joy. The higher the auction price, the more commission he would get. Thus, he couldn't wait for the price of the pill to rise. You want to buy the pill with a mere 1,000,000 peerless grade spirit stones? What wishful thinking. I bid 1,500,000 peerless grade spirit stones. Chen Fengdao's voice came from box 13 with a hint of sneer and disdain. That's right. The Dragon Tiger Pill is something that can only be found by chance. I bid 2,000,000 peerless grade spirit stones. He Qing's voice also sounded from private room number 3. It was incomparably indifferent. Damn it. Chen Fengdao is courting death. I should really cripple that bastard. This caused Qingqing to be angered to the point her beautiful face flushed red while her towering chest rose and fell along with her breathing, and it revealed a trace of smoothness and cleavage that caused one's blood to boil. Jiao Mu's complexion was also very unsightly. His eyes revealed a trace of worry as he said, Master, Chen Fengdao is one thing, but the Wan Shou sect is determined not to let us obtain the Dragon Tiger pellet. It's fine. A mere Dragon Tiger pill is nothing in my eyes. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. There was no anger on his face. However, his voice rang out from the room. I bid 3,000,000 peerless grade spirit stones. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed like Ling Xiao was really determined to buy the pill. However, 3,000,000 peerless grade spirit stones was enough to buy 2 Dragon Tiger pills. However, room 13 and room 3 wouldn't let him get what he wanted, right? As expected, room 13 continued to bid. Chen Fengdao sneered. I bid 4 million peerless grade spirit stones. Ling Xiao, this dragon tiger pill is really good. It just so happens that one of my slaves has broken through to the dragon tiger realm. It's just right for him to consume it. Don't force yourself to bid. Provocation. This was a blatant provocation. Everyone's gaze turned strange. When did Ling Xiao offend Chen Fengdao? Chen Feng said. He was obviously targeting Ling Xiao. Don't go overboard. I'm determined to get this dragon tiger pellet. I'll pay 4,500,000 peerless spirit stones. Ling Xiao's angry voice came from room 3. He Qing laughed coldly and said, what a joke. The treasures in the auction go to the highest bidder. If you can't afford the price, don't lose face here. I'll pay 5 million supreme grade spirit stones. 5 million. Ling Xiao's voice grew colder and colder. There was even a trace of anger that he could not suppress. Just like that, under the bidding of Chen Fengdao and He Qing, the price of the dragon tiger pellet actually began to soar at a speed that made people's jaws drop. Private room number 2. The moon god wore a white robe and was enveloped in the cold moonlight. She looked otherworldly and mysterious. Xia Hongxiu was still wearing her red armor. Her figure was perfect, and she looked valiant. She had a different kind of beauty. Senior sister, it seems like Ling Xiao is determined to get the dragon tiger pellet, but the Wan Shou sect is going too far, they're trying to cut off all of Ling Xiao's hopes. Xia Hongxiu's eyes revealed a hint of worry. Really? I'm afraid you're mistaken. The Wan Shou sect is going to suffer a huge loss this time. The moon goddess's bright eyes landed on the dragon tiger pellet. Her bright eyes flashed with a light as if she was smiling, and she spoke faintly. Suffer a loss? Why would we suffer a loss? Xia Hongxiu asked, puzzled. Continue watching. Even I almost misjudged it. The moon god said. Under the fierce competition between Ling Xiao, Chen Fengdao, and the Wan Shou sect, the price of the dragon tiger pellet quickly rose to 8 million supreme grade spirit stones. Young master, we can't bid anymore. If we continue to bid, we won't be able to afford the martial skill manual that you've set your eyes on. The middle-aged housekeeper in black beside Chen Fengdao said with a bitter smile. All right. Then I won't bid anymore. Anyway, the Wan Shou sect is standing in front of us. They're definitely the ones who don't want Ling Xiao to get the dragon tiger pellet. Chen Fengdao said with a cold smile after hesitating for a moment. He Qing, don't go too far. I'm going to get the dragon tiger pellet today. I'll bid 10 million supreme grade spirit stones. Ling Xiao's voice was bone-chilling and filled with anger. It was as though he was going to explode in the next moment. After all, a pill that was originally worth 1 million peerless spirit stones had been forced down to 10 million. Anyone would be infuriated by this. At the same time, the sum of 10 million pinnacle spirit stones left everyone feeling completely giddy. That was 10 million peerless grade spirit stones. 10 million peerless grade spirit stones was more than enough to buy peerless grade pellets and artifacts. Ling Xiao was really going all out for the dragon tiger pellet. After all, it was not just a pill that was at stake. It was the life and death battle that was going to take place a month later. Therefore, no matter how high the price of the dragon tiger pellet was, Ling Xiao was willing to pay any price. In private room number 3. Elder He, 10 million peerless grade spirit stones for a single dragon tiger pellet? I don't think it's worth it. Our target this time is the minor soul cultivation technique. A disciple from the Wan Shou sect said hesitantly. It's not worth it. Ling Xiao was able to defeat Shi Tian Luo when he was only in the first level of the Dragon Tiger realm. Even Long Zi did not have such terrifying talent back then. This kid is too monstrous. We must not give him any chance to grow. Therefore, no matter how expensive the Dragon Tiger pellet is, I must get it. He Qing sneered. I want him to be in complete despair. I will not give him any chance to grow stronger. I will let him die in fear and anger. I will use his blood to intimidate the great desolation ancient country. I will let them know that this is the consequence of offending the Wanshou sect. After He Qing finished speaking, he immediately sneered and continued to raise the price. Ling Shao, 10 million supreme-grade spirit stones is nothing to me. Let me tell you, as long as I'm around, you can forget about getting the dragon tiger pellet. I'll bid 12 million. He Qing raised the price to 12 million in one go. Although he felt a little heartache, as long as he could prevent Ling Shao from increasing his strength, even if he had to spend so many spiritual stones to buy a dragon tiger pellet, it was worth it. 12 million supreme-grade spirit stones. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Even Xia Rui was knocked unconscious by the impact. His entire body was in a daze. It was as if he could see countless supreme-grade spirit stones flying towards him. His old face was filled with a wide grin. In private room number 9. Ling Qing and Master Jiao Mu's faces were extremely gloomy. Young Master Ling, what should we do? If we continue to bid, I'm afraid we won't be able to get the divine moon essence. Master Jiao Mu said bitterly. Ling Qing looked at Ling Shao with a pained expression and said, Brother, why don't I go and beg father? After the auction ends, we can go and kill He Qing and get the dragon tiger pellet back. The two of them were extremely nervous. They were afraid that Ling Shao would take things too hard. Ling Shao suddenly laughed. There was no trace of anger on his face. His eyes were filled with mockery. Chapter 198. He Qing, it's just a dragon tiger pellet. I don't care about it at all. To tell you the truth, I'm just toying with you. Seeing a fool like you spend more than 10 million on a dragon tiger pellet, I feel great. You've wasted your life. Why are you still participating in the auction if you're so blind? Go back to the Wanshou sect. I give up. The dragon tiger pellet is yours. Ling Shao sneered coldly. He was calm and did not look angry at all. The auction hall was dead silent. Everyone's eyes revealed an incomparably strange expression. If Ling Shao was going to do as he said, wouldn't the Wanshou sect be cheated by him? In the third box, the disciples of the Wanshou sect had ugly expressions on their faces. A sharp glint flashed in He Qing's eyes as he said calmly, Ignore him. He's just bluffing. The dragon tiger pellet can raise his cultivation level to the 3rd level of the dragon tiger realm. How could he not be tempted? I think he's just saying that because he doesn't have any spiritual stones left. Elder, he is right. This little bastard is too shameless. We were almost fooled by him. The disciples of the Wanshou sect sneered. Ling Shao and He Qing were in high spirits, but Xia Rui was the happiest one. The dragon tiger pellet was sold for 12 million peerless spiritual stones. It was 10 times more than what he had expected. In the end, no one else made a bid. Xia Rui announced that the dragon tiger pellet was sold to He Qing for 12 million peerless spiritual stones. However, Ling Shao acted out of character in the following auction. He started to bid repeatedly. Whether it was powerful weapons, pellets, spiritual herbs, or other treasures, Ling Shao started to bid for them. He kept raising the price until he gave up. Hence, He Qing and Chen Fengdao were unlucky. They spent more than 10 times the price to get their hands on many treasures. The Wanshou sect was rich and could afford it. However, Chen Fengdao's face darkened. Young master, let's not participate in the auction. With the Wanshou sect around, Ling Shao is destined to return empty-handed. He's already learned how to play dirty. If this goes on, we won't be able to afford that martial skill. The black-clothed middle-aged man forced a smile and tried to persuade him. In this short period of time, Chen Fengdao had already spent 5 million pinnacle spirit stones on a few spirit pills and spirit herbs. Yet, all of these items added together were not even worth 1 million pinnacle spirit stones. As the butler of the great General Manor, the black-robed middle-aged man could not help but feel his heart ache. Bastard! This little bastard actually dared to trick me, I'm not done with him. Chen Fengdao slammed the table with a gloomy and crazy look in his eyes. Thinking about how he had spent so many spirit stones to buy a pile of junk, Chen Fengdao's heart was filled with anger. In the Wan Shou sect's private room number 3, He Qing also frowned. Elder He, I'm afraid Ling Shao has already seen through our intentions. That's why he's bidding for every item. If this continues, we won't be able to take it. Yeah, the Sun Moon Star sect hasn't made a move yet. If we miss out on the minor soul refining technique because of Ling Shao, then the gains will not make up for the losses. The disciples of the Wan Shou sect all had ugly expressions on their faces. This little bastard, he really deserves to die. He's deliberately trying to trick us. When we see elixirs and treasures that can increase cultivation later, get them for me. We can't let Ling Shao get them. As for the other items, no matter if Ling Shao bids or not, give them all up. He Qing said coldly, a trace of anger flashing in his eyes. In the following auctions, He Qing and Chen Fengdao suffered a few losses and bid less. Although Ling Shao kept raising the price, He Qing did not blindly follow suit. However, when they came across elixirs and treasures that could increase cultivation, He Qing was very decisive in bidding. No matter how high the price was, he did not give Ling Shao any chance. Therefore, after more than half of the auction, Ling Shao did not get anything. Everyone, it's time for another exciting moment. The next item up for auction was a peerless Earth-class martial art, 7 Annihilation Slash. This 7 slashes of destruction is a saber martial skill that was obtained from an ancient relic. Its power is unparalleled, and it can kill demons and destroy gods. It's very powerful. If you can get your hands on it, you will be able to stabilize your family's fortune and create a heaven realm expert. This is also one of the 3 final items in this auction. The starting price is 1 million Supreme Grade Spirit Stones, and each bid must be at least 10,000 Supreme Grade Spirit Stones. Now, please make your bids. A pretty maid walked up with a piece of black jade. The jade was ancient, and there were mysterious characters flashing on it, emitting an incomparably sharp light. All of a sudden, everyone became excited. Their breathing quickened, and their eyes revealed an incomparably blazing light. Every time the Great Wilderness Auction House held an auction, there would be a grand finale treasure at the end. However, this time, as the biggest auction of the year, there were a total of 3 grand finale treasures that had appeared. Many well-informed people had already found out in advance that there would be a peerless Earth-class martial art being auctioned this time around. In the entire capital, only the Demon King Mansion had a heaven-class ultimate martial skill, the triple-kill demon subduing blade. The Great Wilderness royal family also had a heaven-class ultimate martial skill. Other than that, the strongest one was the Earth-class ultimate martial skill. An Earth-class ultimate martial skill could create a heaven realm expert and protect a 1,000-year-old family. It could allow a family to rise instantly and prosper. It could be said that as long as one obtained this Earth-class ultimate martial skill, it represented the future of a family. How could everyone not go crazy? This was especially so for the big families in the capital. Each of them was rubbing their palms together, ready to pay any price to obtain the 7 destruction slash. In box 13, Chen Fengdao seemed to have been injected with chicken blood after hearing about the 7 annihilation slash. He instantly became extremely excited. Young master, it is indeed the 7 annihilation slash. As long as we obtain this jade annulus, our Chen clan will truly possess a Tian grade martial art. In time, it will not be impossible for us to replace the Xia clan and establish an ancient kingdom. We must get it. The middle-aged man in the black robe was also trembling. His eyes were filled with passion. His cultivation had also reached the 8th layer of the Grandmaster realm. He was loyal to Chen Weishan and Chen Fengdao, so he knew many secrets of the Chen family, just like the 7 destruction slash this time. To others, the 7 destruction slash was a powerful Earth-class ultimate martial skill. However, To him and Chen Fengdao, the 7 Destruction Slash was a heaven-class ultimate martial skill that contained the will of heaven and earth. Chapter 199. That's right. Father obtained the Jade Annulus by chance, and it's exactly the same as this Jade Annulus. Father spent a lot of effort to research the Jade Annulus. It contained a heaven-class saber martial art, but it was missing the upper part of the martial art, so it couldn't be cultivated. Later on, Father accidentally found the Jade Annulus of the 7 Annihilation Slashes in the Xia family, but he didn't dare to announce it. I didn't expect the Xia family to auction the 7 Annihilation Slashes. The heavens are really helping my Chen family. Only when these 2 Jade Annulus are combined can the secret of the martial art be completely unraveled. We must obtain the 7 Annihilation Slashes. When the time comes, we won't get the Earth Class 7 Annihilation Slashes, but the Heaven Class 8 Annihilation Slashes. Chen Fengdao said excitedly. His eyes were fixed on the Jade Annulus on the auction stage, full of passion. A light flashed in Chen Fengdao's hand, and an identical black Jade Annulus appeared. It was simple and mysterious, flowing with a faint brilliance. In box number 5. 9th Prince Xia Yunran's eyes lit up. He said, Chen Weishan, I've already asked my family to auction the 7 Annihilation Slashes. It's up to you whether you can get it or not. 9th Prince, is there some secret to the 7 Annihilation Slashes? Why is Chen Weishan so interested in this Earth Class 7 Annihilation Slash? We've spent so much to help him, is it really worth it? A middle-aged scholar beside Xia Yunran asked curiously. Mr. Mo, although the 7 Annihilation Slashes is an ancient martial art, it's only a Earth Class 7 Annihilation Slash. There's no secret. Chen Weishan controls the army. Although he's friendly towards me, he's still wavering. His attitude towards Big Brother is also very ambiguous. Since he needs my help, why don't I help him this time? He'll owe me a favor, so naturally, he won't dare to side with Big Brother. Xia Yunran smiled faintly, his eyes revealing a wisp of wisdom. Your Highness is brilliant. The world only knows that the first prince is the leader of the 5 young masters, but they don't know that your Highness' cultivation is no weaker than the first prince's. If Chen Weishan completely sides with us, your Highness will control more than half of the army. Mr. Mo said with a smile. We have to pick up the pace and rope in the civil and military officials. Once Royal Father takes that step, we have to take action immediately. We can't give Big Brother any chance to turn things around. Xia Yunran's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness as he said indifferently. Yes. Mr. Mo bowed and said. The auction hall was in an uproar. I bid 1,200,000 peerless spirit stones. Hee, Zhang Laosan, don't embarrass yourself here. The 7 Severing Slash belongs to my Lu clan. I'll pay 2 million supreme grade spirit stones for it. 3 million. 3,300,000. All the family heads in the royal capital started to get excited. They all started to bid desperately, wanting to get the 7 Destruction Slash. A bunch of ignorant country bumpkins. It's just a mere Earth-tier peerless martial technique, yet they're fighting over it. That's right, in our Wanshou sect, as long as you are an inner disciple, you can practice any peerless Earth-class martial art. The Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom is just a backwater place, they are just a bunch of frogs at the bottom of a well. The disciples of the Wanshou sect sneered, their eyes filled with disdain. Which of the inner disciples who followed He Qing did not practice any Earth-class peerless martial technique? Even a true disciple like Shi Tianluo had inherited a heaven-class martial art. He Qing's eyes flickered, and he said indifferently, don't bother about them. Our goal is the miner's soul refining technique. We don't care about anything else. 5 million. 5,200,000. I bid 6 million. The 7 Severing Slash belongs to my Deng clan. Under the frenzied bidding of the crowd, the price of the 7 Severing Slash rose steadily. Soon, it reached 7 million. 7 million supreme grade spirit stones was already a very high price. Many of the big clans in the royal capital stopped bidding with a bitter look on their faces. Only a few people continued to bid. I bid 10 million supreme grade spirit stones. At this moment, a clear voice rang out and instantly covered the entire auction hall. Everyone was stunned as they looked in the direction of the voice. Their eyes revealed a trace of shock. 10 million supreme grade spirit stones was close to the true price of the 7 severing slash. Many people began to consider whether they should continue bidding or not. The auction hall fell silent. Everyone, I am Qin Fengdao. I hope that you can give me some face and let me have the 7 severing slash. My Qin clan will repay you generously in the future. The door of booth 13 opened, and Qin Fengdao appeared. He was dressed in black, and he had a tall and slender figure. He looked dignified. He clasped his hands together and looked at the crowd with a smile. Qin Fengdao. He's that lunatic from the Qin clan. He's ranked third among the 5 princes of the royal capital, second only to the first prince and Ling Qingqing. I didn't expect him to be interested in the 7 severing slash. Great General Chen Weishan is now in a high position, commanding the armies of the world and inheriting the good fortune of the Demon Lord. The Qin clan is now one of the most powerful clans in the entire capital. If Qin Fengdao says this, I'm afraid no one will give him any face. It seems like this martial art is going to fall into Qin Fengdao's hands. That's right. The Sun Moon Star sect and the Myriad Beasts sect definitely won't care about an Earth grade supreme grade martial art. The princes won't need it either. The other clans probably won't be able to compare to the great general's residence. Everyone's eyes flashed as they began to whisper to each other. Even the few families who had originally intended to continue bidding began to hesitate. Qin Fengdao's eyes flashed with satisfaction and excitement. It seemed like everyone knew the importance of the Qin clan and chose to give up. Seeing that the 7 severing slash was about to fall into his hands, Qin Fengdao was extremely excited. Although this 7 severing slash is not as good as my father's triple kill demon banishing blade, it's still not bad. I can leave it for the guards of the Demon King's residence to cultivate. This king bids 10.01 million. Just when Qin Fengdao thought that the 7 severing slash was about to fall into his hands, a lazy voice rang out. Is that Ling Xiao? Everyone turned to look in the direction of the voice, and a strange look appeared in their eyes. The triple kill demon banishing blade left behind by the Demon King was a heaven-grade martial art. Its power was unparalleled, and it was much more powerful than the 7 severing slash. Logically speaking, Ling Xiao shouldn't be interested in the 7 severing slash. Why would he bid for it? Could it be that he wanted to take revenge on Qin Fengdao? Everyone's eyes flashed as they recalled how Qin Fengdao had raised the price when Ling Xiao was bidding. They didn't expect that retribution would come so quickly. In the blink of an eye, Ling Xiao and Qin Fengdao were at odds. Moreover, Ling Xiao only added 10,000 supreme grade spiritual stones. This was a slap in the face. He was obviously here to cause trouble. Qin Fengdao's face darkened as he looked at the 9 severing slash with murderous intent. I bid 11 million. Qin Fengdao's voice was extremely cold, as though it was squeezed out from the gaps of his teeth. 11.01 million. Chapter 200. In the 9th room. Ling Qingqing's face was filled with excitement as she said, Great. Ha! That bastard Qin Fengdao dared to trick us. We can't let him get the 7 destruction slash so easily. Young Master Ling, the 7 destruction slash is useless to us. Don't go overboard. If Qin Fengdao gives up, we'll be at a huge disadvantage. Master Jiao Mu's eyes were filled with worry. He knew that Ling Xiao wanted to take revenge on Qin Fengdao, but they still had to compete for the Sun Moon Divine Essence. The Moon God also had her eyes on the Sun Moon Divine Essence. Even Master Jiao Mu had to be worried when facing a giant like the Sun Moon Divine Essence. Don't worry. No matter how many spiritual stones Chen Fengdao spends, he won't give up on the 7 destruction slash. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a wisp of wisdom flashed in his eyes. When the black jade was taken out, Ling Xiao felt a familiar aura from it. The complete version of the 7 destruction slash should be called the 10 destruction slash. The 10 annihilation slash was a heaven-class high-grade martial art. 10,000 years ago, it was created by an expert known as the Saber Emperor. It was said that although the 10 annihilation slash was only a heaven-class high-grade martial art, in the hands of the Saber Emperor, it was able to erupt with power comparable to a heaven-class peerless martial art. Ling Xiao had once fought with the Saber Emperor and experienced the might of the 10 annihilation slash. Therefore, he was very familiar with this saber martial art. When he felt the aura on the jade disc, he knew that this was the 10 annihilation slash. However, the jade disc sold at the auction did not seem to be complete. Ling Xiao's powerful spiritual perception allowed him to sense a jade disc with the same aura as Chen Fengdao's. Therefore, Ling Xiao guessed that Chen Fengdao probably knew the secret of the 10 destruction slash. That was why he wanted to get the 7 destruction slash at all costs. I bid 12 million. Chen Fengdao's eyes grew colder and colder. He looked at the 9th room with an undisguised murderous intent. 12.01 million. Ling Xiao continued to bid. Just like that, every time Chen Fengdao made a bid, Ling Xiao would outbid him by 10,000 peerless grade spirit stones. In the end, only the voices of Chen Fengdao and Ling Xiao could be heard in the hall. Everyone had different expressions on their faces. None of them had thought that Chen Fengdao and Ling Xiao would end up going head-to-head. Elder He, should we attack? Asked a disciple of the Wanshou sect. He Qing smiled faintly and said, let them dogs bite each other. We won't do anything. The triple-kill demon vanquishing blade of the Demon King's residence is much more powerful than this so-called 7 annihilation slash. Ling Xiao is deliberately trying to annoy Chen Fengdao. We won't join in the fun. Yes. The Wanshou sect disciple nodded. The flames of fury in Chen Fengdao's eyes burned brighter and brighter, as if they were about to spew out. If gazes could kill, Chen Fengdao would probably have already crushed Ling Xiao's bones and scattered his ashes at this moment to vent the hatred in his heart. Ling Xiao, don't go too far. I'll bid 20 million pinnacle spirit stones. Go ahead and bid if you can. I'd like to see if you have that many pinnacle spirit stones on you. Chen Fengdao roared. His eyes were spitting fire, and his voice was incomparably cold. At the same time, he felt a tinge of regret in his heart. If he had known earlier, he would have let the Wanshou sect deal with Ling Xiao. Why did he have to join in the fun? In the end, he had shot himself in the foot. Young master, we only have 20 million pinnacle spirit stones in total. If Ling Xiao bids again, we won't be able to afford it. The black-robed middle-aged man said with a bitter look on his face. Ling Xiao deserves to die. I must kill him. Chen Fengdao felt as if his heart was bleeding. Originally, 10 million pinnacle spirit stones was enough to get the 7 annihilation slash. But because of Ling Xiao's interference, the price had risen to 20 million pinnacle spirit stones. But this was an auction, and Chen Fengdao couldn't do anything. Even if he did, he wouldn't be able to defeat Ling Xiao. So, he had nowhere to vent his anger. He was on the verge of going crazy. 20-10-000. Ling Xiao's indifferent voice rang out. He still had a carefree look on his face. Chen Fengdao, this is an auction. The highest bidder wins. You don't have to worry about whether I can afford it or not. But if you can't afford it, the 7 annihilation slash will really be mine. In another box, Xia Yunran frowned and said coldly, this Ling Xiao really doesn't know what's good for him. He's already doomed for the life and death battle a month later. How can he still be in the mood to make enemies? Mr. Mo's eyes flashed, and he said slowly, Your Highness, what should we do now? If Ling Xiao is determined to compete with Chen Fengdao might not be able to get the 7 annihilation slash. No, the 7 annihilation slash must be sent to Qin Fengdao. We must get Qin Weishan. Take out 10 million pinnacle spirit stones and give it to Qin Fengdao. We must let him get the 7 annihilation slash. Xia Yunran's eyes flashed sharply as he said decisively. There was a trace of pain on his face. 10 million extreme-grade spirit stones was a huge amount of resources for Xia Yunran. Even if he had to fork out such a huge sum of money, he had no other choice at this point. Your Highness is wise. Mr. Mo nodded and turned to leave the box. Soon, 10 million pinnacle spirit stones were sent to Qin Fengdao. Thank you, Your Highness. My Qin family will always be Your Highness's staunchest supporter. Qin Fengdao was overjoyed. At the same time, he represented his Qin family's loyalty. Ling Shao, I'll bid 30 million pinnacle spirit stones. If you have the ability, continue to bid. I'd like to see if you can take out that many pinnacle spirit stones. Qin Fengdao's cold voice rang out in the auction hall. Hiss. Everyone's body trembled as they sucked in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were filled with shock. 30 million pinnacle spirit stones was a sky-high price. Even a heaven-class low-grade martial art could be bought at such a high price. However, Qin Fengdao actually added 10 million pinnacle spirit stones to the 7 annihilation slash. He was indeed a lunatic. Everyone thought of Qin Fengdao's nickname and sighed. Such a sky-high price caused many people to shrink back. Even the disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect and Myriad Beasts sect were shocked. Qin Fengdao's eyes were cold as he stared at box number 3. He had already decided that if Ling Shao continued to bid, he would give up. At most, he would wait until Ling Shao died in the hands of the Myriad Beasts sect a month later. He would then buy the 7 annihilation slash from them. Qin Fengdao's hatred for Ling Shao had reached a boiling point. After a while, Ling Shao smiled faintly. 30 million pinnacle spirit stones. The Qin family is really rich. Since the Qin family likes the 7 annihilation slash so much, I'll fulfill your wish. I give up. Pooh. Everyone nearly coughed out a mouthful of blood. If a gentleman doesn't snatch what others love, what were you doing earlier? Who was the person who fought with Qin Fengdao to the death earlier? Too shameless. Too shameless. Chapter 201. Qin Fengdao's face flushed red as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were burning with rage as he was enraged by Ling Shao. His heart was bleeding. Originally, he could have gotten it for 10 million peerless-grade spirit stones. But in the end, he had to pay 3 times the price. This was all because of Ling Shao. Qin Fengdao's eyes were incomparably gloomy, and his expression was somewhat sinister. He took a deep breath and suppressed his boiling blood and anger. He kept consoling himself in his heart. The 7 annihilation slashes was not an Earth-class extreme martial art, but a heaven-class martial art. In the end, he had profited. Xia Rui stood in the middle of the auction hall with a look of excitement on his face. Seeing that no one was bidding anymore, he quickly announced the result. I hereby announce that Qin Fengdao has obtained the Earth-class peerless grade martial art. Xia Rui announced. This meant that the 7 obliteration slashes would go to Qin Fengdao. Qin Fengdao heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. However, his face was still expressionless as killing intent surged out from his body. Next up is the second item of the auction, the divine essence of extreme Yin. Just as Xia Rui finished speaking, Ling Shao and Moon God looked at each other and were both shocked. Their eyes looked sharp. The auction for the divine essence of extreme Yin was finally about to begin. The divine essence of extreme Yin is nurtured in a place of extreme Yin for millions of years. It contains a trace of Xiantian extreme Yin Qi and is most suitable for women to consume. It can transform a woman's body into a pure Yin body. Furthermore, the divine essence of extreme Yin can also be used to refine pills and weapons. It is a legendary treasure that can refine Dao weapons and Dao pills. There are a total of 3 drops of divine essence of extreme yin, and we will be auctioning them together. The starting price is 1 million peerless grade spirit stones. Each bid must be at least 10,000 peerless grade spirit stones. Everyone, please make your bids. Xia Rui said with a smile. A heavenly treasure like the divine essence of extreme yin was not very attractive to ordinary people. However, to alchemists and blacksmiths, it was extremely valuable. A heavenly treasure like this was simply too hard to come by. However, the starting price of 1 million peerless grade spirit stones was enough to deter many people. For a moment, no one made a bid. After a while, an old man in an alchemist's robe said, "This divine essence of extreme yin is indeed very valuable. I bid 1 million peerless grade spirit stones. It's Master Chun Shen. I heard that he's an alchemist consecrated by the royal family. To think that he's interested in the divine essence of extreme yin." Someone's eyes flashed as he recognized the old man's identity. 2 million peerless spirit stones. An old but domineering voice rang out from room number 6. There was a cold fluctuation in the air. Master Chun Shen was shocked as if he had thought of something. He smiled bitterly and said, "Since the blacksmith master has taken a fancy to the extreme yin divine essence, I have nothing to fight for. I forfeit." Profound weapon master. Everyone was shocked and their gazes instantly turned to room 6. The profound blacksmith grandmaster was the only upper-grade blacksmith grandmaster in the entire Grand Desolation Ancient Kingdom. Who would have thought that he would actually participate in today's auction? Wasn't it said that Xian weapon grandmasters were eccentric, to the point where they even dared to refuse to meet the Emperor of the Great Wilderness? Why would he participate in today's auction? He must be here for the miner's soul refining technique. Someone's spirit shook as they thought of the final treasure and understood what was going on. The profound weapon master had been stuck at the upper-grade weapon master level for many years. The reason why he wanted to break through to the peerless grade weapon master level was definitely because of the miner's soul refining art. Later, there would definitely be a fierce battle. A profound weapon master. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he released his mental strength. He could feel that room 6 was being wrapped up by a powerful mental strength. The mental strength was as vast as the sea and was even stronger than Ling Zhao's mental strength. When the mental strength sensed Ling Zhao's mental strength, there was a cold and sharp radiance pressing towards him. Ling Zhao retracted his mental strength and a playful look appeared in his eyes. In room number 6, there was a tall and burly old man in a black robe. His entire body was emitting a cold aura. He was the famous profound weapon master in the Grand Desolation Ancient Kingdom. At this moment, there was a glimmer of light in his turbid eyes as he looked puzzled. This is strange. Whose mental strength is so strong? Even Jiao Mu's mental strength can't be so strong. Could it be that guy called Ling Xiao? The profound weapon master mumbled. I bid 5 million peerless grade spiritual stones. Ling Zhao's indifferent voice rang out. Everyone was stunned. Ling Xiao was really going to stir up shit until the end. He was a man who was neither a blacksmith nor an alchemist. What use did he have for the Grand Moon Divine Essence? When He Qing and Chen Fengdao saw Ling Zhao's bid, they sneered but did not do anything. The Grand Moon Divine Essence obviously has no effect on Ling Xiao. This guy must be trying to trick us. He's too cunning. He Qing and Chen Fengdao sneered inwardly. In room 2, when Yueshan heard Ling Zhao's bid, a strange light flashed in her eyes. Senior sister, I think Ling Xiao is trying to lure Chen Fengdao and He Qing to make a move. Should we wait for a while before making a move? Anyway, the Grand Moon Divine Essence is definitely yours. No one will snatch it from you. Xia Hongxiu's eyes flashed as she smiled. I don't think so. I feel that Ling Xiao is really trying to buy the Grand Moon Divine Essence. Yueshan's beautiful eyes flashed as she spoke. He wants to buy the Grand Moon Divine Essence. I don't think so. The Grand Moon Divine Essence is the most useful to you. With the Grand Moon Divine Essence, you can cultivate your Grand Moon True skill to the complete realm. Could it be that Ling Xiao wants to buy it to get on your good side? Xia Hongxiu was stunned for a moment before she teased. However, there was an inexplicable bitterness in her heart. Who knows? However, I must get the Grand Moon Divine Essence. Yueshin's eyes were calm, but there was a tinge of determination in her voice. 5 million peerless spiritual stones? I give up. The profound weapon master shook his head and gave up. He was just casually bidding. However, 5 million peerless spiritual stones had exceeded his expectations. Hence, he did not continue bidding. Is there anyone else who wants to bid? This is a top-notch treasure. It can be used to refine Dao weapons and Dao pills. It's a great deal to buy it. Xia Rui looked as though he wanted to stir up trouble. His voice was filled with bewitchment. Young Master Ling, it's up to the Sun Moon Star sect now. They are our real opponents. Master Jiaomu was a little nervous. He knew that Ling Xiao was interested in the Grand Moon Divine Essence. Hence, he was afraid that Ling Xiao would not be able to compete with the Sun Moon Star sect. Indeed, as soon as Xia Rui's voice fell, a cold voice rang out from room 2, 10 million. Chapter 202. Yueshin had made her move. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of brilliance. Yueshin had the Taiyin body. If she could get the Taiyin Divine Essence, it would be beneficial to her cultivation. Moreover, Yueshin cultivated the Taiyin True technique. Ling Xiao knew that the Taiyin Divine Essence could help her reach the Great Completion realm. That was why Yueshin had come to the auction today for the Taiyin Divine Essence. However, Ling Xiao would not give it up. 12 million. Ling Xiao said. 15 million. Yueshin continued to bid. Young Master Ling, we only have 20 million pinnacle grade spirit stones in total. However, compared to the Sun Moon Star sect, it's not enough. However, if the minor soul refining technique is auctioned, we will definitely earn a large amount of spiritual stones. A hint of anxiety appeared in Master Jiaomu's eyes. No matter how many spiritual stones I have to spend, I must get the Taiyin Divine Essence. The reason why the Sun Moon sect and the Wanshou sect are participating in the auction is mainly for the minor soul refining technique. I believe that if the time comes, the Moon Goddess will definitely choose the minor soul refining technique. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, revealing a wisp of wisdom. 20 million. Ling Xiao's voice was filled with a sense of determination to win. 25 million. Yueshin said. Her voice was as clear as ever. In the entire auction hall, only the voices of Ling Xiao and Yueshin raising the price could be heard. Their bids left everyone dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with shock. Although the Extreme Yin Divine Essence was precious and was a top heavenly treasure, it didn't have many uses. Besides some women who cultivated Yin attribute cultivation methods, refiners, and alchemists, other martial artists had no use for it at all. Therefore, the crowd thought that the Taiyin Divine Essence could only be auctioned for 10 million at most. However, as Ling Xiao and Yueshin competed, the price of the Taiyin Divine Essence shot up to 30 million Supreme Grade Spiritual Stones. 30 million Supreme Grade Spiritual Stones was the same price as the 7 Destruction Slash. However, the crowd thought that the Taiyin Divine Essence was not as valuable as the 7 Destruction Slash. A glint flashed across Ling Xiao's eyes. He took a deep breath and shouted out a number. 50 million. What? Ling Xiao's voice was like a clap of thunder, causing everyone in the auction hall to feel dizzy. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock. That was 50 million extreme grade spirit stones. Even the strongest families in the capital wouldn't be able to take out 50 million extreme grade spirit stones so easily. Was Ling Xiao crazy for a mere 3 drops of Extreme Yin Divine Essence? Not to mention, where did he get so many pinnacle spirit stones from? In the third box, the Wanshou sect's disciples' eyes were filled with shock. Clearly, the sum of 50 million pinnacle spirit stones was enough to shake them to their core. Elder He, could it be that Ling Xiao really wants to buy the divine essence of Moon? If the extreme divine essence is so important to him, should we help him raise the price? A disciple of the Wan Shou sect sneered. He Qing thought about it for a moment before shaking his head. No, Ling Xiao is too cunning. If this is a trap set by him, and we really spend 50 million peerless grade spirit stones to buy the great divine essence, we won't be able to get the minor soul refining art anymore. Clearly, after being tricked by Ling Xiao a few times, He Qing was a little afraid. More importantly, the next item to be auctioned was the minor soul refining art. This was a secret skill that could increase one's mental strength. Compared to that, stopping Ling Xiao was secondary. Elder He is right. Ling Xiao is too cunning. We can't fall for his trap. The Wan Shou sect's disciple nodded in agreement. The Wan Shou sect didn't make a move, and the second box remained silent. Senior sister, you're right. Ling Xiao really wants the extreme divine essence. Why aren't you bidding anymore? Xia Hongxiu's eyes revealed a hint of curiosity. The moon god's eyes flashed as she said, the most important thing now is the auction of the minor soul refining art. Although the extreme divine essence is very useful to me, if I really get it, it will be troublesome for me to bid for the minor soul refining art. Forget it, since Ling Xiao wants the extreme divine essence, I'll just give it to him. Xia Hongxiu curled her lips and said, Ling Xiao is really ungentlemanly. He has no use for the extreme divine essence. Why does he have to compete with senior sister? Then I'm afraid you're wrong. I have a feeling that the extreme divine essence is what Ling Xiao wants the most. The moon god smiled faintly as a strange light flashed in her eyes. The moon god didn't continue bidding, and the 50 million peerless grade spirit stones had completely stunned everyone. After a long time, Xia Rui finally regained his senses. His old face was filled with excitement as he shouted, the 9th box has bid 50 million peerless grade spirit stones. Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? This is a top-grade treasure that can be used to refine Dao weapons and Dao pills. It's a great deal to buy it. Xia Rui shouted as he looked at the second box with anticipation. He knew who the person in the second box was. To others, 50 million peerless grade spirit stones might be a huge sum, but to the person in the second box, 50 million peerless grade spirit stones was nothing. Xia Rui was really greedy. 50 million peerless grade spirit stones. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao, the extreme divine essence would only be worth 10 million peerless grade spirit stones. The second box was still silent. Xia Rui could only retract his gaze in disappointment. Since no one wants to continue bidding, I hereby announce that the extreme divine essence belongs to the 9th box. Peng! The golden hammer in Xia Rui's hand fell, signifying the final owner of the extreme divine essence. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Just as he had expected, the moon god had given up on bidding. The extreme divine essence had landed in his hands in the end. To others, spending 50 million peerless grade spirit stones to buy the extreme divine essence was a waste. However, to Ling Xiao, it was worth it no matter how many spirit stones he spent. The extreme divine essence was a top-grade attribute spiritual seed. It was directly related to whether Ling Xiao could break through to the second level of the heaven-devouring secret skill. For the extreme divine essence, he was willing to pay any price. I didn't expect you to be so rich. 50 million peerless grade spirit stones. You took it out just like that. You made me worry for nothing. Ling Qingqing glared at Ling Xiao before bursting into laughter. Her smile was as beautiful as a blooming flower. Sister Qingqing, you're wrong about that. Master Jiaomu and I combined don't even have that many spirit stones. Ling Xiao chuckled. What? Qingqing was shocked, and a trace of anxiousness appeared in her eyes. Then what should we do? If you can't take out 50 million peerless grade spirit stones after the auction, the Great Wilderness Auction House won't let you off. Why are you so reckless? What should I do? What should I do? No, I have to go back and look for my father. The old man has a lot of spirit stones. Ling Qingqing stood up and prepared to leave the box. Sister Qingqing, don't worry. There will be spirit stones soon. Chapter 203. Nonsense. 50 million supreme-grade spirit stones isn't a small sum. Where are you going to get so many supreme-grade spirit stones? Ling Qingqing asked Ling Xiao. Because the next auction item was provided by me. Ling Xiao smiled. At the same time, Xia Rui's voice echoed throughout the auction hall. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the most exciting part of the auction. The next item is the last item of the auction. It's a cultivation technique called the Miner's Soul Refining Technique. As you all know, it's extremely difficult for alchemists and blacksmiths to level up. The main reason is that it takes too long to raise one's mental strength. In order for a level 9 Grandmaster to reach the celestial realm and become one with the heavens and the earth, one has to have an extremely strong mental strength to break through. The Miner's Soul Refining Technique is a secret skill that can raise one's mental strength. Xia Rui's words silenced the entire auction hall. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock. As for those who already knew that the Miner's Soul Refining art was going to be auctioned, such as the Moon Goddess, He Qing, the Mystic Weapon Master, and the Eldest Prince, their eyes lit up at the same time. The Miner's Soul Refining Technique had finally appeared. This was especially so for Yueshan and He Qing. Their eyes were filled with determination. Anyone can cultivate the Miner's Soul Refining Technique. It absorbs the essence of heaven and earth to strengthen one's mental strength. The highest level one can reach is the level of an alchemist or blacksmith. It's also helpful for a level 9 celestial realm expert to break through to the legendary noble realm. Therefore, I believe I don't have to explain the value of the Miner's Soul Refining Technique. Now, let's begin the auction. There's no starting price for the Miner's Soul Refining Technique. Everyone, feel free to bid. Xia Rui's face was filled with excitement. His eyes were filled with anticipation. He had made a killing in today's auction. Just the extreme Yin God essence was already sold for 50 million pinnacle spirit stones. If that was the case, how many pinnacle spirit stones would the lesser soul refining art fetch? Indeed, as soon as Xia Rui finished speaking, someone started to bid. I bid 1 million spiritual stones. The person who bid was Master Chun Shen. His eyes were filled with excitement and passion. He had been stuck in the realm of lower-grade alchemy Grandmaster for a long time. If he could get his hands on the Miner's Soul Refining art, he would be able to make a rapid breakthrough. By then, it would not be impossible for him to surpass the Imperial Advisor and the Pure Yang Spiritual Master. That was why he had asked for 1 million pinnacle spirit stones right off the bat. 1, 2 million. 1,500,000. 1, 8 million. Following closely behind Master Chun Shen, the countless alchemists, weapon refiners, and clan heads in the hall began to seethe with excitement. Each of them revealed an extremely excited expression and began to bid. At this moment, a cold voice rang out, directly suppressing everyone's voice. I bid 10 million pinnacle spirit stones. The voice came from room number 6 and the bidder was a profound weapon grandmaster. The moment the profound weapon master opened his mouth, everyone started to hesitate. In terms of wealth, they definitely could not compare to the profound weapon master. Therefore, some directly chose to give up. 15 million. As soon as Master Chun Shen opened his mouth, he added another 5 million. His eyes were blazing as he stared at the Miner's Soul Refining art on the auction stage. He was prepared to get it at all costs. 20 million. The profound weapon master's voice was cold and there was a hint of arrogance in his voice. However, he had no intention of giving up. The competition for the Miner's Soul Refining art was getting more and more intense. What did you say? The Miner's Soul Refining art is yours? Qing was unable to regain her senses. She stared at Ling Xiao in a daze, her eyes filled with shock. That's right. The miner's soul refining art is a secret skill that I obtained by chance. It isn't very useful to me and that's why I'm putting it up for auction. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. That's true. You're neither an alchemist nor a weapon refiner. The miner's soul refining art is indeed not very useful to you. It's most useful to alchemists and weapon refiners. Ling Qingqing misunderstood Ling Xiao's meaning and nodded her head. Therefore, Sister Qingqing, when I get the miner's soul refining art, I definitely won't lack spiritual stones. You're here today for the miner's soul refining art, right? However, I advise you to give up. Don't compete with the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wanshou sect. You won't be able to win against them. Ling Qingqing's eyes dimmed as she smiled bitterly. I know that too. But for my father, even if I can't win, I have to give it a try. Sister Qingqing, don't worry. The miner's soul refining art is nothing. Give it to your uncle. Ling Xiao smiled as he took out a handwritten copy of the miner's soul refining art and handed it to Ling Qingqing. Ling Qingqing was stunned. This is for me. Ling Qingqing found it hard to believe. The miner's soul refining art was being fought over crazily in the market. The price was close to 50 million peerless spiritual stones. Yet, Ling Xiao said that he was going to give it to her. She felt like she was dreaming. Of course. With our relationship, a mere miner's soul refining art is nothing. Ling Xiao chuckled. After inheriting the memories of Ling Xiao's original body, he knew that Ling Xiao was a useless martial artist. Although he was the crown prince of the Demon King Manor, he wasn't happy. Although Ling Zhen treated him well, Ling Zhen was very busy and didn't have time to care about him. In his childhood, Ling Xiao was ostracized and ridiculed. Only Shui Wei and Ling Qingqing were the few warm and beautiful existences in his heart. Ling Xiao could feel the dependence and trust that Ling Xiao had for Ling Qingqing. It was as if she was his own sister. That was why Ling Xiao was willing to give away the precious miner's soul refining art without hesitation. This is too precious. How can I repay you? Ling Qingqing was a little dazed as she murmured. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he smiled. Sister Qingqing, if you want to repay me, you can give yourself to me. Give myself to you? Oh, okay. Ling Qingqing nodded, but she immediately reacted. Her face turned red as she glared at Ling Xiao. Give myself to you? Dream on. How dare you tease your sister? You must be itching for a beating. Ling Xiao chuckled. His teasing brought Ling Qingqing back to her senses. She hugged the miner's soul refining art tightly and looked at Ling Xiao with sparkling eyes. In the auction hall, even the ninth prince, Xia Yunran, made a move. The price of the miner's soul refining art rose higher and higher. In the end, Master Chun Shen and the others had no choice but to give up. In the end, only the master blacksmith continued to bid, 50 million peerless spiritual stones. Chapter 204. 50 million peerless spiritual stones had already reached the price of the divine moon essence. However, most people felt that the divine moon essence was not worth 50 million peerless spiritual stones. As for the miner's soul refining art, 50 million peerless spiritual stones was far from the final price. After all, the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wanshou sect had not made their move yet. 80 million. Just as the profound weapon grandmaster's bid was shocking, an old and domineering voice rang out in the auction hall. He Qing had made his bid. Everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. As expected of the Myriad Beasts sect, the first thing they asked for was 80 million peerless spirit stones. This price had already far exceeded the limit of many people. Even Xia Yunran shook his head with a bitter smile and gave up on bidding. He knew that the next battle would be between the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wanshou sect. Perhaps the profound weapon grandmaster would be able to compete for it. After all, as the strongest upper blacksmith in the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, the profound weapon grandmaster's wealth was beyond imagination. However, Xia Yunran found it strange that Ling Qingqing had no intention of competing for the minor soul refining art even though she represented Ling Juechen. After all, Ling Juechen was the national advisor of the Great Baron. Not only was he deeply trusted by the Great Baron King, but he was also an upper alchemy grandmaster. He should be very interested in the minor soul refining art. 90 million. Yueshin's cold voice rang out after He Qing made his bid. In box 6, the profound weapon grandmaster frowned slightly. He only had 50 million peerless spiritual stones on him. It was not enough to compete with the Sun Moon Star sect and the Wanshou sect. However, he did not plan to give up on the minor soul refining art so easily. I bid 50 million peerless spiritual stones and a Tao artifact, the soul extinguishing sword. The profound weapon grandmaster gritted his teeth and made his bid. What? Everyone was shocked, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. 50 million peerless spiritual stones was one thing, but the soul-extinguishing sword was a supreme Tao artifact. Very few people in the 8 Desolation region could forge a Tao artifact. A Tao artifact contained the will of heaven and earth. It was a powerful weapon that only noble realm experts could use. The soul-extinguishing sword was very famous in the royal capital. It was the profound weapon master's only Tao weapon. It was said that it was obtained from an ancient ruin. Because of the soul-extinguishing sword, the profound weapon master became one of the famous experts in the royal capital. For the minor soul refining art, he was simply crazy. He actually took out 2 soul-extinguishing swords. If the soul-extinguishing sword were to be auctioned off, it would probably fetch a whopping 100 million supreme-grade spirit stones. That meant that the profound weapon grandmaster would be willing to bid for the minor soul refining art. Ling Xiao also revealed a trace of surprise. He did not expect this profound weapon grandmaster to value the minor soul refining art so much that he did not hesitate to exchange it with a Tao artifact. He had underestimated the minor soul refining art, L soul stones. For profound soul art. In private room number 3, He Qing frowned. The price had exceeded his expectations, For it. He Qing said indifferently with a hint of coldness in his voice. This was the Great Desolation ancient country. It wasn't a country under the Wanshou sect. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to go through so much trouble. The Wanshou sect could easily get the minor soul refining art to hand it over. The price of 1 million spirit crystals shocked everyone. Spirit crystals contained the purest source spirit qi. Generally, sky human realm experts would need to use spirit crystals to increase their cultivation. Supreme-grade spirit stones were no longer enough to satisfy their needs. Spirit crystals were rare in the 8 Desolation region. Most of them were in the hands of martial holy lands. Therefore, spirit crystals were rare. Originally, 100 supreme-grade spirit stones could be exchanged for a single spirit crystal. However, because spirit crystals were simply too precious, 200 supreme-grade spirit stones could only be exchanged for a single spirit crystal on the market. In fact, one might not even be able to obtain a single spirit crystal. Therefore, He Qing bid 1 million spirit crystals. That was equivalent to 200 million supreme spirit stones. Seeing the price, even the profound weapon grandmaster shook his head and gave up. Although the profound weapon grandmaster had some wealth, he couldn't compare to a martial holy land like the Wanshou sect. Senior sister, what should we do? 1 million spiritual crystals has already exceeded our expectations this time. I didn't expect the Wanshou sect to be so generous. They are willing to spend so much for a mere minor soul refining art. Xia Hongxiu's eyes revealed a trace of worry. It's okay. The minor soul refining art will be ours. The moon goddess's eyes flashed with brilliance. She said faintly, I'll pay 1 million spiritual crystals and a divine sun stone. As for the price of the divine sun stone, I would like to ask the Great Desolation auction house to ask the person who has the minor soul refining art. 1,000,000 spirit crystals was fine. But what was the divine sunstone? Many people revealed a trace of doubt in their eyes. The divine sunstone. The Sun Moon Star sect is really generous. It is said that the divine sunstone is a yang stone that fell from the sun. It contains the power of yang. It is said that it is a supreme treasure for refining sovereign weapons. The Sun Moon Star sect is willing to take out a divine sunstone. The profound weapon grandmaster was shocked. The yang stone that fell from the sun was a supreme treasure for refining sovereign weapons. Although everyone didn't know what the divine sunstone was, they understood these two sentences and were immediately stunned. The Sun Moon Star sect was willing to pay such a high price for a minor soul refining art? Even the Sun Moon Star sect didn't have many treasures like the divine sunstone. In the third room, He Qing and the disciples of the Wan Shou sect looked gloomy. Damn it! The divine sunstone is a treasure used by the sun god lineage of the Sun Moon Star sect to cultivate the true sun technique. There are only 3 pieces in the entire Sun Moon Star sect. How could the moon god have a treasure of the sun god lineage? How could the sun god lineage agree to exchange the divine sunstone? He Qing's expression was extremely ugly. He understood what the sun divine stone meant and how precious it was. The divine sunstone was a priceless treasure for the sun god lineage of the Sun Moon Star sect. Elder He, although the divine sunstone is precious, it has limited uses like the sun moon essence. I am afraid that the person who auctioned the minor soul refining art might not like it. We still have a chance. A disciple of the Wan Shou sect said. We can only hope so. Otherwise, I am afraid that the minor soul refining art will fall into the hands of the Sun Moon Star sect. He Qing's eyes were filled with unwillingness. If they were not in the great barren ancient kingdom, he would not have to be so restrained. He could just snatch it. Chapter 205. In Room 9. Ling Xiao immediately stood up, his eyes revealing a trace of incomparable excitement. Sun Sacred Stone. It's actually the Sun Sacred Stone. I didn't expect the Sun Moon Star sect to be willing to take out the Sun Sacred Stone for the minor soul refining tactic. Ling Xiao's breathing quickened, and he couldn't calm down. The Sun Sacred Stone was a top-notch treasure like the Sun Moon Essence. It was also a top-notch Yang Attribute Spiritual Seed. Ling Xiao was still worrying about how to get the Yang Attribute Spiritual Seed, but he didn't expect Yueshan to give it to him directly. He couldn't let go of the Sun Sacred Stone. Jiao Mu, agree to the auction. 1,000,000 spiritual crystals, a piece of Sun Sacred Stone, and the minor soul refining tactic for the Sun Moon Star sect. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up as he said slowly. Yes, young Master Ling. Jiao Mu was also excited. He knew that the yin and yang attribute spiritual seeds were very important to Ling Xiao. He didn't expect someone to send him a pillow just as he was about to doze off. The minor soul refining art had been sent to the Grand Desolation Auction House by Grandmaster Jiamu. Moreover, with Grandmaster Jiamu's status, he was able to maintain the highest level of confidentiality. Even the princes were unable to find out who had sent the minor soul refining art. Soon, someone from the Great Baron Auction House came to ask for Master Jiaomu's opinion. Master Jiaomu also informed the auction house of Ling Xiao's decision. In the auction hall, Xia Rui's ears twitched. He glanced at the crowd with a smile and said, "We just asked the senior who sent the minor soul refining tactic. He thinks that the Sun Sacred Stone is a priceless treasure." The Sun Moon Star sect offered 1,000,000 spiritual crystals and a piece of Sun Sacred Stone, which made him very satisfied. Therefore, the minor soul refining tactic was won by the guest in room 2. In box number 3, the faces of He Qing and the other disciples of the Wan Shou sect became extremely ugly. The thing that they were most worried about had happened. Damn it! Don't let me know who sent the minor soul refining tactic. Otherwise, I'll tear him into pieces. A disciple of the Wan Shou sect roared. That's right. Isn't he deliberately picking on the Wansho sect? Although the sun's sacred stone is precious, it's not like the Wansho sect can't afford it. Why should the miner's soul refining tactic be given to the Sun Moon Star sect? The disciple of the Wansho sect said indignantly. He Qing's eyes also revealed a trace of coldness as he slowly said, "Forget it, if I can't get the miner's soul refining art, I can only say that it's fate. Moreover, the divine sun stone is indeed very precious. We can't compete with the Sun Moon Star sect at all. Elder, are we just going to let it go? Why don't we kill the moon god from the Sun Moon Star sect and snatch the miner's soul refining technique?" The eyes of the disciples of the Wansho sect were filled with murderous intent. "Do you want to die?" He Qing glared at them and said, "Do you know who the moon god is?" The moon god and the sun god are known as the most outstanding disciples of the Sun Moon Star sect's younger generation. They are also known as the Sun Moon Twin Stars. Each of them is a heaven-tier powerhouse. In our Wansho sect, only Long Zi and Feng Zi can compete with them. Even I can't guarantee that I can take down the moon goddess. If you have such thoughts, you will only be courting death. What? Is the moon god that strong? The eyes of the disciples of the Wansho sect were filled with disbelief. Don't underestimate the moon god. Even the sect master said that the sun god is inferior to the moon god in terms of talent and potential. During this period of time, all of you had better behave yourselves and wait for the experts from the sect to arrive. He Qing warned them. Yes. The disciples of the Wansho sect were shocked and their arrogance was reduced as they replied in a deep voice. After the miner's soul refining technique was decided, the auction came to an end. Without a doubt, there were many twists and turns in the auction and everyone was shocked. Especially the secret battle between Ling Xiao, the Wansho sect, and Qin Fengdao. Ling Xiao had also bought the Sun Moon Divine Essence with 50 million spiritual stones. However, the most shocking thing was that the mysterious moon god from the Sun Moon Star sect had bought the miner's soul refining technique with 1 million spiritual crystals and a divine sun stone. That was a spiritual crystal. The entire Great Barren Ancient Kingdom did not have that many spiritual crystals. After all, the spiritual crystal mines were in the hands of the 5 martial arts sanctums. Therefore, there were many experts in the 5 martial arts sanctums. In the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, a sky-human realm expert was considered an overlord. Everyone was even more curious about the owner of the miner's soul refining technique. At this moment, Ling Xiao and Master Jiao Mu had arrived at the backstage of the Great Barren auction house. They had successfully settled all the accounts and received 1 million spiritual crystals, the Sun Moon Divine Essence, and the Divine Sun Stone. With the 1 million spiritual crystals, Ling Xiao would be able to cultivate for a long time. Moreover, Ling Xiao's net worth had also become extremely high. The Sun Moon Divine Essence and the Divine Sun Stone were the key to Ling Xiao's breakthrough to the second level of the heaven-devouring secret skill. Therefore, this auction was a great harvest for Ling Xiao. In another room, Qin Fengdao had also obtained the jade disc of the 7 destruction slash as he had wished. However, he had spent 30 million spiritual stones to buy the jade disc of the 7 destruction slash. This made Qin Fengdao's heart ache. The entire Qin family had suffered a great loss. Ling Xiao, when I have successfully cultivated the 7 destruction slash, I will definitely kill you. Qin Fengdao said through gritted teeth. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Buzz. When Qin Fengdao took out the black jade disc that he had obtained, the 2 jade discs buzzed and began to emit a mysterious and ancient light. Faint talisman scripts spread out, and there seemed to be black lightning lingering on the jade disc. An incomparably sharp saber intent spread out, as if it could break the firmament and shatter the world. It was extremely strong, tough, and vast beyond compare. Clang! A crisp sound was heard. The 2 jade discs merged together in an instant. Black ripples spread out in all directions. Magical symbols lingered around. The 2 jade discs merged together and turned into a black jade knife. It looked very ancient and very peculiar. Moreover, Chen Fengdao could faintly see mysterious words appearing on the jade disc. Damn it, there is another seal. Chen Fengdao injected his genuine qi into the jade disc to sense it. Instantly, he felt as though there was a layer of fog surrounding the jade disc. He could not see the words on the jade disc clearly. Chen Fengdao's expression became somewhat unsightly. Young master, let's go back and ask old master for help. As long as we can break the last seal, we will be able to obtain a powerful heaven-class martial skill. The black-robed middle-aged butler said excitedly. All right. Let's go back. When I have successfully cultivated the martial skill on the jade disc, it will be the death of that bastard. Chapter 206. Senior sister, why did you pay such a high price for the minor soul refining spell? Also, do you know who the owner of the minor soul refining spell is? Xia Hongxiu was confused. Although the minor soul refining spell could increase one's spiritual power, it could only increase one's spiritual power to the level of a supreme alchemy master. There were a few alchemy masters in the Sun-Moon sect. Although the minor soul refining spell was precious, it wasn't worth exchanging the Sun God Stone for it. The Sun God Stone was the lifeblood of the Sun God's bloodline. The Moon God had only borrowed it from the headmaster this time, but she had actually exchanged the Sun God Stone. If the Sun God's bloodline found out, there would be a lot of trouble. The Moon God smiled faintly. Hongxiu, the minor soul refining spell can increase the spiritual power of alchemists and blacksmiths, allowing them to level up. But do you know what spiritual power is? Xia Hongxiu paused and shook her head. Spiritual power was too intangible. If one didn't touch that level, they wouldn't be able to understand it. Spiritual power is one of the origins of life. The Moon God said faintly. The three treasures of the human body are spiritual power, qi, and spirit. A person is nurtured by the world and has a strong body. For example, the power of blood and qi is spiritual power. When you step onto the path of martial arts, you absorb spiritual qi and cultivate innate true qi and innate gang qi. That's the qi refining stage. Once you become one with the world and step into the celestial realm, you'll touch the intangible spiritual power. It's the development of the brain's potential and unpredictable means. The Moon God's voice was calm, but in Xia Hongxiu's ears, it was as if a door to the origin of martial arts had been opened. It made her focus more and more. If a celestial realm cultivator wants to break through to the noble realm, the biggest bottleneck is spiritual power. If you can get a secret method to increase your spiritual power, even if it's just a little bit, it'll greatly increase your chances of breaking through to the noble realm. However, the secret method to increase spiritual power is a legend. It might have appeared in the ancient times, but it's very rare in the 8 Desolation region now. So, you know how precious the minor soul refining spell is, right? It's not as simple as cultivating a few alchemy masters and blacksmiths for the sect. More importantly, it's so that the people of the Sun-Moon sect can have a higher chance of breaking through to the noble realm. Moon God's voice was cold, but it was firm. It made Xia Hongxiu's body shake. The noble realm was a realm that made people tremble just by mentioning it. A noble realm cultivator had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. It could be said that they were the strongest cultivators in the entire Ba Huang region. Even the current Great Desolation Ancient Kingdom did not have a noble realm expert. The fact that it could increase the chances of reaching the noble plane showed how incredible this minor soul refining spell was. No wonder the Wanshou sect was so desperate to get the minor soul refining spell. If the Moon Goddess hadn't taken out the Divine Sun Stone, the outcome would have been different. However, how did the Moon Goddess know that the mysterious seller needed the Sun God Stone? The reputation of the Grand Desolate Auction House was extremely good. Even though it belonged to the Xia clan, if an esteemed guest wanted to keep it a secret, even the princes and princesses would not be able to find out. Only the Grand Desolate Emperor would know the identity of that person. The Moon Goddess seemed to have seen through Xia Hongxiu's confusion. She smiled and said, I have indeed guessed the identity of the owner of the minor art of soul tampering. Who is he? Xia Hongxiu's interest was immediately piqued. Heaven's secrets must not be revealed. The moon goddess's eyes lit up as she thought of that familiar aura. A handsome face appeared in her mind. On the other side, He Qing and the disciples of the Wanshou sect were all gloomy. They paid the spiritual stones and received the treasures from the grand desolate auction house. Then, they returned to the hostel of the Wanshou sect. He Qing and the disciples of the Wanshou sect were very upset that they didn't get the minor soul refining spell. Especially He Qing, who knew the significance of the minor soul refining spell to the Wanshou sect. Now that it was in the hands of the Sun Moon Stars sect, there was no need to think about getting it. Go and find out who auctioned the minor soul refining art. Perhaps we still have a chance. As long as we find that person, he must have a handwritten copy of the minor soul refining spell. He Qing's voice was cold and there was a murderous glint in his eyes. Yes. Many disciples of the Wanshou sect were shocked and answered. Elder, this is the dragon tiger pellet that we got from the auction. A disciple of the Wanshou sect presented a jade box. There was a pellet the size of a longan in it. It shone brightly and emitted a fragrance. There was also the image of a dragon and a tiger. It is indeed the dragon tiger pellet. He Qing exclaimed. The gloominess in his eyes lessened. After all, it was good for the Wanshou sect that Ling Xiao did not get the dragon tiger pellet. He Fei, you are now at LV6 Dragon Tiger Realm. This Dragon Tiger pellet is for you. Try to break through to the Grandmaster Realm as soon as possible. He Qing's eyes flashed as he looked at a disciple of the Wanshou sect. He Fei was a member of the He clan. When He Qing obtained the Dragon Tiger pellet, the first thing he thought of was his own clan. The other disciples of the Wanshou sect looked at He Fei with envy, but they didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction. He Fei was overjoyed. He hurriedly knelt down and bowed to He Qing, saying, Thank you, Elder. Thank you, Elder. Take it now. I will protect you and help you break through to LV9 Dragon Tiger Realm. A hint of satisfaction appeared in He Qing's eyes. Although he did not know alchemy, he could tell if the Dragon Tiger pellet was real or fake. It was not easy to get such a precious pellet, even in the Wanshou sect. Yes. He Fei carefully took the pill and took a deep breath. He suppressed his excitement and swallowed the pill in one gulp. Boom! He Qing's body emitted a powerful fluctuation. Suddenly, a light flashed in his hand. A green light curtain spread out and covered He Fei. The Dragon Tiger pellet was very powerful. It contained the power of dragon and tiger. It could cleanse one's marrow and expand one's vitality. It could help one break through 3 realms. Therefore, taking the Dragon Tiger pellet to break through would cause a great fluctuation. Buzz! He Fei swallowed the Dragon Tiger pellet and a bright light flashed outside his body. All the disciples of the Wanshou sect were shocked and quickly stepped back. Junior brother He Fei is going to break through. Everyone, get out of the way. It was unknown which disciple of the Wanshou sect shouted. Immediately, everyone dispersed, including Elder He Qing. Everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation. But after the light flashed, it disappeared in an instant. He Fei's face began to turn extremely red. He was sweating all over his body. He clenched his teeth as if he was trying to endure something. Chapter 207. Poof! But at this moment, an ear-piercing sound came from He Fei's body. Then, a stink filled the air, enveloping He Qing and all the disciples of the Wanshou sect. Ah, it stinks. I can't take it anymore. Why is it so smelly? Cough cough cough, many disciples of the Wanshou sect froze and their faces began to contort. They screamed and covered their noses as they scrambled out. He Qing's old face also turned cold. He was completely unprepared for that overwhelming stench. It rushed straight to his brain, and he almost fainted from the stench. Poof! Poof! 2 more stinky farts were heard. He felt a stirring in his abdomen. Then, a black stench filled the air and he defecated in the hall. Bastard! He was so angry that his body trembled. His face was livid. He slapped He and knocked him out. Looking at the filthy things in the hall, as well as the strange stench that could not be blocked out, He immediately felt his heart churn, and he vomited. Master, what's wrong with the dragon tiger pill? Why didn't I see it? After leaving the Grand Wilderness auction house, Ling Qingqing excitedly took the miner's soul refining technique back. Master Jiaomu asked the question that had been bothering him. Of course there's something wrong with the dragon tiger pill. It's a big problem. Ling Xiao smiled. Although the dragon tiger pill looks like a dragon and tiger, it's fragrant and has a strong medicinal effect. However, it only has 1% of the medicinal effect left. The rest is all pill poison. That dragon tiger pellet was brought out from the ruins by someone. It should be a pellet from 5,000 years ago. However, it was not preserved in a complete state, causing the medicinal efficacy to evaporate. The residual medicinal efficacy is very little. If it is consumed, not only will it be impossible to break through to the 3rd stage, it will also be harmful to the body. Those pellet toxins are not that easy to expel. I see. The Wan Shou sect is really unlucky. A smile appeared on Master Jiaomu's face. That depends on who in the Wan Shou sect took the dragon tiger pill. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as a cold light flashed in his eyes. His spiritual power was extremely strong, much stronger than Master Jiaomu's. Moreover, Ling Xiao was a supreme alchemist in his previous life and knew many ways to detect spiritual pills. Therefore, he easily sensed that the dragon tiger pellet was filled with pill poison. Only the surface layer had some residual medicinal power. At this moment, Ling Xiao saw that there were many people gathered on the street in front of him. He could faintly sense 2 powerful auras. Furthermore, one of the auras was very familiar to Ling Xiao. It was Qin Fengdao. What happened? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he walked over. Surrounded by the crowd, Qin Fengdao was dressed in black. His figure was slender and handsome, but his eyes were very cold. He looked at the figure opposite him, revealing a trace of killing intent. Standing a few dozen feet away from Qin Fengdao was a young man with a black saber on his back. His hair was very long and hung loosely behind his head. His face looked very cold, and it was a kind of bone-chilling coldness. His appearance was very ordinary, but his eyes were like blades. He stared at Qin Fengdao opposite him, not hiding the killing intent in his eyes. The auras between the two intertwined like 2 peerless divine sabers, emitting an incomparably cold sharpness. The onlookers looked at Qin Fengdao and the young man and whispered with a trace of sympathy. Ling Feng is here again. The last time he was seriously injured by Qin Fengdao was just 3 months ago. Now he wants to challenge Qin Fengdao again. Isn't he afraid that Qin Fengdao will kill him? Sigh. Ling Feng is also a pitiful person. His father, Ling Jiyuan, was originally a general of the Qin family and was loyal to Qin Weishan and Qin Fengdao. However, it was said that in order to obtain a top-grade spiritual fruit in the fearsome beast mountain range, Qin Fengdao let Ling Jiyuan attract the attention of the demonic beasts while he escaped with the spiritual fruit. In the end, Ling Jiyuan was eaten by the demonic beasts. Yes. After Ling Jiyuan died, the Qin family chased Ling Feng and his mother out. Ling Feng's mother was also seriously ill. Ling Feng cultivated with all his might, thinking about killing Qin Fengdao at all times to avenge his father. Unfortunately, Ling Feng challenged Qin Fengdao dozens of times this year. Every time he was defeated, but every time he was able to escape. Ling Feng broke through to the Grandmaster realm with just a black rank peerless martial art, Azura saber technique. Such talent is simply monstrous. Yes, of the 5 young masters of the capital, the first 4 have the support of large families. Leng Feng is the only one who relies on himself. If he also has the support of a large family behind him, he might even be able to become the leader of the 5 young masters. Unfortunately, he is destined to be defeated by Chen Fengdao today. There's no other way. Not only is Leng Feng's cultivation 1 level lower than Chen Fengdao, but Chen Fengdao also cultivates an earth rank upper martial art, 5 elements return to 1 saber technique. If Leng Feng didn't have an extremely powerful movement technique, I'm afraid he would have died in Chen Fengdao's hands. The crowd discussed fervently, looking at Leng Feng with eyes full of sympathy. Leng Feng, I really don't know where your confidence comes from, to still dare to challenge me. Today, I'm going to kill you completely. Chen Fengdao's voice was incomparably cold, and his body emitted an icy killing intent. Leng Feng looked at Chen Fengdao, his eyes filled with icy hatred. He said in a hoarse voice, Chen Fengdao, if not for my father, you would have died in the fierce beast mountain range long ago. But you repaid kindness with ingratitude and let my father die in the mouth of a demonic beast for a spirit fruit. Today, I'm going to kill you to avenge my father. Chen Fengdao sneered and said, avenge? Your father was my Chen family's servant to begin with. It's only right that he died for me. Not just your father, you're also my Chen family's servant. But you actually dared to use a servant to kill his master. This is simply disgraceful. The one who should die should be you. The killing intent in Chen Fengdao's eyes was not concealed at all. He already had a stomach full of anger at the auction house. Now that he was provoked by Leng Feng again, it made the fury in his heart surge even more. Servant? Ha ha ha. Leng Feng laughed loudly. His voice was very sorrowful, and the iciness in his eyes became thicker and thicker. You think that you're high and mighty, but you're nothing in my eyes. If you didn't have the Chen family as your backing, if your father, Chen Weishan, wasn't a great general, what qualifications do you have to order people around here? If you were the same as me, I'd kill you like slaughtering a dog. Chen Fengdao, prepare to die. Leng Feng gave a low roar. His black hair fluttered, revealing a pair of icy cold and scarlet eyes. An incomparably powerful battle intent erupted. Clang! The long saber on Leng Feng's back was unsheathed, its sharpness unparalleled. He grabbed the battle saber and slashed towards Chen Fengdao. It was like a divine rainbow streaking across the sky, snow-white and sharp, containing an icy cold and pure saber intent as if it was going to split heaven and earth with one slash. Chapter 208. Leng Feng's saber contained a black saber radiance. It was dark and cold as if it came from hell and contained the Azura saber essence. The saber was extremely fast. Like a black lightning bolt, it arrived in front of Chen Fengdao in an instant. You're courting death. Chen Fengdao's eyes turned cold and revealed a cold murderous intent. A light flashed in Chen Fengdao's hand and an ancient war saber appeared. He slashed it towards Leng Feng. Clang! Sparks flew and the space shook. Leng Feng's body did not move, but Chen Fengdao was pushed back a few steps by the huge force from the saber. How is this possible? There was a hint of shock in Chen Fengdao's eyes. Leng Feng's cultivation was only at LV1 of the Grandmaster realm, and he was seriously injured by Chen Fengdao 3 months ago. However, Chen Fengdao immediately felt that something was wrong. The current Leng Feng seemed to have become a completely different person. His blade techniques had become even more ruthless and sharp. Moreover, there was an ice-cold deathly stillness to them. His endless blade intent was like a huge wave that was endless. Chen Fengdao, die. After Leng Feng's saber succeeded, he did not slow down and his eyes were bloodshot. His saber became more intense and black lightning circled around the saber radiance. It seemed to come from hell as it slashed towards Chen Fengdao's head. Leng Feng, you're the one who's courting death. I won't let you go today. Chen Fengdao was enraged. The powerful force of a LV2 Grandmaster exploded and the ancient war saber in his hand emitted a blazing light. Boom! Chen Fengdao slashed out with his blade. Suddenly, the blade light surged like an endless wave. Five colored divine lights rushed out from it, showing the power of the 5 elements. There was a kind of power of the 5 elements of nirvanic destruction permeating the air. This was the 5 elements return to one saber technique, an upper earth class martial technique. It was also General Chen Weishan's famous martial technique. When the saber slashed out, the 5 elements returned to one was like the boundless heavens and earth. Of course, Chen Fengdao's current strength had not reached that level. However, the saber slash had exceeded the strength of a grandmaster and it caused the space to explode. Azura's 8th blade, kill! Ling Feng roared angrily. His body was surrounded by a black light. The black light seemed to have turned into streaks of black saber light. Finally, a gigantic saber aura was formed behind him. The black light was torrential, cold and sharp. The Azura saber skill was Ling Feng's family heirloom saber skill. Although it was only a mystic grade peerless rank martial skill, Ling Feng had already cultivated it to the perfection stage. Furthermore, he had cultivated the Azura saber intent. The Azura saber skill only had 8 saber moves, and the 8th saber move was the strongest saber move. Rumble. The collision of the 2 huge blades was like a thunderclap. Divine light spread out in all directions. The sharp blade wind caused everyone to feel pain on their skin. Their eyes were filled with shock. Ling Feng and Chen Fengdao were both forced to take a few steps back before they could stabilize themselves after the raging Xiantian energy spread out. Everyone's expression changed, revealing a trace of disbelief. Not only was Ling Feng's cultivation lower than Chen Fengdao, but the Azura saber skill that Ling Feng cultivated was only a mystic grade peerless rank martial skill. Chen Fengdao's 5 elements coalescence saber skill was an earth grade upper rank martial skill. The gap between the two was too big. Therefore, every time Ling Feng challenged Chen Fengdao, it would end in a crushing defeat. However, today, the crowd could not believe their eyes. The Azura's 8th blade was on par with the 5 elements coalescence saber skill. How was this possible? Chen Fengdao was especially shocked. His eyes were filled with shock and his face turned ugly. Ling Feng's improvement is too fast. No, I have to kill him today. Chen Fengdao thought to himself. The killing intent in his eyes was almost tangible. He glanced at the black-robed butler who was standing at the side. The butler nodded his head discreetly. Among the crowd, Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a glint of light. Is this the power of the bloodline? Ling Zhao muttered to himself. There was a faint golden light in his eyes. He seemed to see traces of black light emanating from Ling Feng's body. It was the aura that came from the bloodline. It was ancient, mysterious and powerful. Moreover, there was an extremely pure origin saber essence emanating from Ling Feng's body. Chen Fengdao, pay with your life for my father's. Ling Feng did not stop. His cold eyes locked onto Chen Fengdao as he executed the Azura saber skill and charged at Chen Fengdao. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Chen Fengdao snorted. The innate qi around his body turned into numerous saber auras. Together with the ancient war saber in his hand, they exploded with an extremely powerful force. Rumble. Ling Feng and Chen Fengdao collided in the air. Their figures crisscrossed and their speed was extremely fast. Every time they collided, it was like a thunderclap that shook the heavens and the earth. Moreover, the blazing saber radiance was like the Milky Way descending from the 9 heavens. It contained an extremely powerful force. Even the sturdy ground was left with gouges by the unparalleled saber qi. The more they fought, the braver they became. Their auras rose to the extreme. This was especially so for Ling Feng. When he challenged Chen Fengdao this time, he was prepared to kill Chen Fengdao even if he had to die. He did not think that he could defeat Chen Fengdao. However, Ling Feng felt different when he fought today. It was as if he had the help of God. Every time he struck, he could unleash 120% of his strength. Moreover, his understanding of the Azura Saber essence was getting deeper. The Azura Saber essence that was originally at the minor completion realm reached the greater completion realm in a short while. With the addition of the Saber essence, Ling Feng's saber was faster, more ruthless, more stable, and more powerful. Therefore, even when facing Chen Fengdao, who executed the 5 elements coalescence saber skill, he was not at a disadvantage. As for Chen Fengdao, the more he fought, the more shocked he became. He felt as if Ling Feng had become a different person. Moreover, the strength of Ling Feng's body was increasing with every passing moment. At first, they were evenly matched, but later on, Ling Feng was gradually suppressing him. 5 elements coalescence, myriad saber realm. Chen Fengdao's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness. Immediately, the innate gang qi gushed out from his body. He pushed Ling Feng away with a saber strike, and his body began to emit a cold aura. 5 elements coalescence, myriad saber realm. This was the killing move of the 5 elements coalescence saber technique. Although Chen Fengdao was far from reaching the perfection realm, he could still activate a trace of its true meaning. The power of this move was unparalleled. Even after Chen Fengdao had mastered it, he did not dare to use it casually. Boom! Innate gang qi gushed out from behind Chen Fengdao. It was as if 5 divine lights were propping up the heavens and the earth. Chaotic mist filled the air. Strands of mist traversed the void and turned into incomparably sharp saber radiance. The saber in Chen Fengdao's hand hummed and vibrated. When the killing intent in his eyes rose to the extreme, he slashed out with his saber. The saber realm formed by the innate gang qi behind him also covered the sky and was about to envelop Ling Feng. Chapter 209. It is the killing move of the 5 elements coalescence blade. Ling Feng is doomed. Someone exclaimed and looked at Ling Feng sympathetically. The 5 elements coalescence blade, the myriad saber realm, was created by combining one's innate earth energy with the power of heaven and earth to create a terrifying blade radiance realm. Therefore, no one thought that Ling Feng would be able to block this move. A grave expression appeared in Ling Feng's eyes. However, he had no intention of retreating. Instead, his fighting spirit rose to its peak. Azura's 9th blade. Ling Feng spat out these 5 words. Instantly, the sound of a saber resonated throughout the area. An endless amount of black light soared into the sky, as if it had transformed into a tornado. Rumble. The void trembled slightly as a black vortex formed behind Ling Feng. At the same time, a peerless saber light was born from the vortex. It carried a dark and terrifying energy as it exploded. Azura's 9th blade. There are only 8 blades in the Azura saber technique. Where did the 9th blade come from? Could it be? Everyone's bodies shook as an extremely terrifying possibility emerged in their hearts. Self-created martial arts. Ling Xiao took a deep breath as a trace of shock appeared in his eyes. This blade had surpassed the Black class martial arts and reached the Earth class martial arts. It had the terrifying power to mobilize the power of heaven and earth. Ling Xiao did not expect Ling Feng's comprehension to be so terrifying. He was able to create an Earth class martial arts when he was only a level 1 grandmaster. Although this saber was still very immature, and although this saber had many flaws in Ling Xiao's eyes, it was indeed an Earth-level martial art. Moreover, it had a kind of imposing power. Any genius who could create their own martial arts were true geniuses. They would definitely be able to go further in the future. In his previous life, Ling Xiao only became the number 1 honorable after he created the 7 limits divine skill of devouring heaven and destroying earth. Between the myriad saber realm and the Azura's 9th blade, who was stronger? At this moment, no one knew. Rumble. Black divine light exploded. The long blade in Ling Feng's hand seemed to have a black vortex that swallowed the entire saber realm. Kacha. Beams of dazzling divine light traversed the void like lightning. Accompanied by violent explosions, the void was instantly drowned in white saber light. PFFF, Chen Fengdao suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face instantly became extremely pale. He was sent flying for dozens of meters and smashed heavily on the ground. On the other hand, although Ling Feng's face was slightly pale, he managed to stabilize himself after swaying a little. Chen Fengdao was defeated. This result caused everyone to be in disbelief. It was as if they were in a dream, and all of them were stunned. In terms of cultivation and martial arts, Chen Fengdao was much stronger than Ling Feng. However, in the end, Chen Fengdao still lost. This was the first time Chen Fengdao had lost to Ling Feng over the past year. Everyone looked at Ling Feng with mixed feelings. This determined and indomitable young man had used defeat after defeat and blood to grow. He had no resources, no background, and only had the Azura saber technique. In the end, he managed to break through to the Grandmaster realm at the tender age of 20 and became one of the 5 princes of the capital. Now, he had even defeated Chen Fengdao. Even though they were just spectators, they couldn't help but feel deep respect for Ling Feng. "You've lost," Ling Feng said coldly as he walked toward Chen Fengdao. His steps were firm, and the murderous intent in his eyes was undisguised. Chen Fengdao's face contorted. His handsome face looked ferocious at this moment. He couldn't accept being defeated by Ling Feng. It was as if he had suffered a great humiliation, and his heart was filled with rage. "Ling Feng, do you really think you've won? Let me tell you, your father is my Chen family's slave, and you are my Chen family's slave. You and your father will be my Chen family's dogs for life. If I want you to die, you will die. Uncle Lei, kill him for me." Chen Fengdao pointed at Ling Feng. His voice was extremely cold, and it was filled with blazing murderous intent. Ling Feng's eyes revealed a trace of anger. Just as he was about to say something, he felt a cold and powerful palm energy coming toward him. Without hesitation, he slashed out with his saber. Boom! The black-clothed housekeeper beside Chen Fengdao had appeared behind Ling Feng without anyone noticing. His expression was indifferent as he struck out with his palm. The vast palm contained an extremely cold force and instantly clashed with the long saber in Ling Feng's hand. Crack! The long saber was instantly broken by the butler's palm. At the same time, the butler's palm landed lightly on Ling Feng's back. Puff! Ling Feng suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt a cold force invading his body, and he was instantly sent flying, crashing in front of Chen Fengdao. You're despicable. Ling Feng glared at Chen Fengdao and said furiously. I'm despicable. Ha ha ha. Ling Feng, you're about to die, and you still dare to be so stubborn? It's only right for me to kill you. Even the government won't dare to say anything. Do you have anything to say before you die? Chen Fengdao stepped on Ling Feng's face and laughed loudly. Ling Feng had previously escaped from him many times. Even he could not catch up with Ling Feng's strange movement technique. Therefore, in order to prevent Ling Feng from escaping again, he asked the butler in black to ambush Ling Feng and severely injure him. A level 8 Grandmaster had deliberately ambushed Ling Feng. He did not have any ability to resist at all. Chen Fengdao, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Ling Feng bit his lips until they bled. His eyes were filled with unwillingness and despair. Become a ghost? I'll make it so that you can't even become a ghost. Chen Fengdao's eyes revealed a trace of cruelty. He raised the saber in his hand and was about to slash it down on Ling Feng. Ling Feng closed his eyes as if he had accepted his fate. Tears of humiliation and regret flowed out of his eyes. The surrounding crowd was furious but did not dare to say anything. They were filled with deep sympathy, but there was nothing they could do. Chi! At this moment, an invisible sword energy swept across the sky and collided with the saber in Chen Fengdao's hand. It contained an unparalleled force. Chen Fengdao felt his arm go numb and the saber flew out of his hand. Who's that? How dare you interfere in my business? Are you courting death? Chen Fengdao's eyes turned cold as he looked in the direction of the invisible sword energy. Chen Fengdao, I think you're getting more and more shameless. You can't defeat Ling Feng, so you ordered your subordinate to ambush him. How dare a piece of trash like you call yourself a young master of the capital? The crowd parted as Ling Xiao and Master Jiaomu walked in. Their voices were indifferent and carried a strong sense of mockery. Ling Xiao, it's you. Chapter 210. Chen Fengdao's eyes were cold, and there was a hint of fear in them. Although the young man in front of him was only in the dragon-tiger realm, his combat strength was too abnormal. Even a peerless genius like Shi Tianluo had been defeated by him. Chen Fengdao had also suffered a loss at Ling Xiao's hands. Therefore, when he saw Ling Xiao come out, he subconsciously began to feel nervous. Ling Xiao, this is a matter of the Chen family. Ling Feng is a servant of the Chen family. How I deal with him has nothing to do with you. I advise you not to look for trouble. Chen Fengdao said coldly as he looked at Ling Xiao fiercely. It's Ling Xiao. He's the one who defeated the peerless genius of the Wanshou sect, Shi Tianluo, and inherited the title of demon-suppressing marquis? Everyone cried out in surprise, their eyes revealing a trace of shock. The news of Ling Xiao defeating Shi Tianluo had spread throughout the royal capital. Everyone was shocked and in disbelief. How did the useless Ling Xiao, who couldn't even cultivate, become so powerful all of a sudden? Now, looking at the young man in front of them, with his snow-white robes, fluttering black hair, bright eyes, and a calm demeanor, everyone felt as if they were dreaming. There were even a few girls who looked at Ling Xiao with admiration in their eyes. Their cheeks were flushed red as they looked at Ling Xiao. I've never heard of Ling Xiao having any relationship with Ling Feng. Why would he stand up for Ling Feng? Who knows? However, Ling Xiao's status and strength is not something Chen Fengdao can compare to. He can't possibly let Ling Feng go, right? Some people discussed softly, and there was a hint of doubt in their eyes. A matter of the Chen family? Why did I hear that Ling Feng has been chased out of the Chen family? And it was because someone shamelessly killed his father? You lost to Ling Feng in a fair fight because you were not as skilled as him. However, you let your subordinate sneak attack Ling Feng. Chen Fengdao, do you have any shame? Ling Xiao sneered as he walked up to Chen Fengdao. Boom! A powerful aura emanated from Ling Xiao's body, causing Chen Fengdao's expression to change. His eyes instantly revealed a look of alertness, and he abruptly retreated. However, Ling Xiao did not attack him at all. Instead, he bent down and pulled Ling Feng up. Are you all right? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Ling Feng was also a little surprised. He did not know why Ling Xiao had saved him. However, he had a cold personality. He replied calmly, I'm fine. Thank you. Chen Fengdao's face immediately turned red, and his eyes revealed a look of anger. Ling Xiao did not intend to attack him. He only released his aura to intimidate him, and as a result, he was scared out of his wits. Chen Fengdao felt as though he had been greatly humiliated. His cheeks were burning, and his gaze towards Ling Xiao was filled with hatred. Ling Xiao, do you really want to become enemies with my Chen family? Chen Fengdao's voice was filled with suppressed anger. Become enemies with your Chen clan? You think you're worthy? Ling Xiao laughed coldly and said, your father, Chen Weishan, was a servant of my Ling family back then. If it wasn't for my father's appreciation, teaching him martial arts, leading him to the battlefield, and achieving great military exploits, what would your Chen family be worth? However, after my father disappeared, your father turned around and established his own faction. He sought refuge with someone else and even seized military power. He colluded with that old bastard Ling Yunxiang and plotted against me. Your Chen clan is the true traitor. You still have the face to be arrogant in front of me? Kneel down now. Ling Xiao's voice was clear and filled with righteousness. Instantly, Chen Fengdao's face turned green and white. His eyes were about to spit fire. If not for the fact that he knew that he was no match for Ling Xiao, he would have charged forward and chopped Ling Xiao into pieces. Moreover, there was a strange rhythm to Ling Xiao's voice. When the surrounding people heard it, they could not help but nod their heads. They looked at Chen Fengdao with disdain. After all, what Chen Weishan did back then was not right. Although he was now a great general and held a high position, everyone had a scale in their hearts. Ling Xiao, don't go too far. Chen Fengdao gnashed his teeth and said. His eyes flickered with the light of choosing someone to devour. He swore in his heart that once he cultivated the martial arts on the jade disc, he would definitely kill Ling Xiao. He would make him kneel in front of him and cry for 3 days and 3 nights until he died. Go too far. Chen Fengdao, you have the face to say that I'm going too far. A despicable and shameless person like you should have died long ago. Ling Xiao's eyes were very cold and revealed a trace of killing intent. He did not have a good impression of Chen Fengdao. Chen Fengdao's actions had aroused the killing intent in his heart. Seeing Ling Xiao's eyes filled with killing intent, Chen Fengdao suddenly trembled and came to his senses. Ling Xiao really wanted to kill him. Ling Xiao, just you wait. I will not let you go. 1 month later, I will watch you die at the hands of the Wanshou sect with my own eyes. Chen Fengdao did not care about killing Ling Feng anymore. He immediately turned around and fled under the protection of the black-robed butler. He was extremely fast and as he ran, he threatened Ling Xiao. He was really afraid. If Ling Xiao really killed him regardless of the consequences, everything would be over. There would be no need for revenge. Chen Fengdao's heart was filled with hatred for Ling Xiao. His thirst for power grew even stronger. Everyone's faces were also filled with shock. Chen Fengdao was actually scared off by Ling Xiao's words. This guy was too cowardly. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao with a hint of respect in their eyes. The young man in front of them was extremely talented and had a high status. Now that he had completely revealed his abilities, everyone felt that the demon mansion was about to rise again. Ling Xiao, I owe you my life. If I don't die, my life is yours. Ling Feng said coldly. His voice was very solemn and he turned around to leave. Big brother Leng, bad news, bad news. At this moment, a dirty young man squeezed in. His face was filled with anxiety. When he saw Ling Feng, his eyes lit up instantly. Big brother Leng, come back with me quickly. Aunt's illness acted up again. Ling Feng's expression changed. His eyes were filled with anxiety as he asked, Little Nian, what's going on? When I came out just now, wasn't mother still fine? Big brother Leng, I don't know what happened either. After Aunt finished cooking for us, she suddenly fell ill. Quickly go back and take a look. The dirty young man was on the verge of tears. He sobbed as he spoke. Let's go. Ling Feng carried the young man and turned around to rush out. At this moment, Ling Xiao stepped forward and grabbed Ling Feng's arm. Ling Feng's expression turned cold. He turned to look at Ling Xiao and said, Ling Xiao, I don't have time to talk to you now. Get out of my way. Chapter 211. Master Jiaomu. Ling Feng's eyes lit up. Who in the capital didn't know of Master Jiaomu's name? The 5 profound spirit pill, 6 profound spirit pill, and 7 profound treasure pill were all over the capital, making Master Jiaomu the most popular alchemist in the capital. His reputation was second only to the Grand Tutor, Ling Juechen, and spiritual master Chunyang. If Master Jiaomu was willing to help, there was hope for his mother's illness. Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you, Master Jiaomu. Ling Feng kowtows to you. Ling Feng's eyes were filled with emotion. He actually knelt down and kowtowed to Ling Xiao and Master Jiaomu. Even though Ling Xiao had saved his life, this arrogant and stubborn young man's back was straight and upright, and he did not bend even an inch. But for the sake of his mother, he was willing to kneel down. Such a person was worthy of respect. Ling Zhao's eyes also revealed a trace of admiration. He hurriedly helped Ling Feng up and said, "There's no time to lose. Let's go quickly." "All right. Both of you, follow me." Ling Feng stood up and took a deep breath to suppress the excitement in his heart. He carried the dirty youth and hurried toward the north of the city with Ling Xiao. The north of the city could be said to be a chaotic place in the capital. The power of the government there was very weak, and most of the people lived there. Crooks mixed in with the honest folk, and gangs stood in great numbers. It was very complicated. The dirty youth was called Zhang Xiaonian. He was an orphan. He leaned against Ling Feng and looked at Ling Xiao curiously. He wasn't afraid of strangers. Along the way, he became familiar with Ling Xiao and began to talk non-stop. Ling Xiao also learned a lot about Ling Feng from Zhang Xiaonian. It turned out that 2 years ago, after Ling Jiyuan died in the fearsome Beast Mountain Range, Ling Feng and his mother were chased out of the great general's residence. They had been living in the slums of the north of the city. The terrain there was complicated, and it was very difficult to find them. Madame Leng was greatly affected by Ling Jiyuan's death. She once went to the fearsome Beast Mountain Range alone to search for Ling Jiyuan's whereabouts. In the end, not only did she not find Ling Jiyuan, but she also contracted a serious illness. She would fall ill basically every half a month. Although Ling Feng found many doctors to treat her, she didn't get better. And in the past few months, there were signs of it getting more and more serious. She would get sick almost every few days. "Auntie just had a relapse yesterday. I didn't expect her to have another relapse today. Big brother Ling Xiao, you have to save Auntie. Auntie is a good person. She treats us very well." Little Nian blinked his big eyes and looked at Ling Xiao expectantly. "Don't worry, Xiaonian. I'll do my best," Ling Xiao said with a smile. They sprinted all the way, passing through a few streets and alleys before arriving at the North City. This was a chaotic area where crooks mixed in with honest folk. It was a slum, and high officials and nobles rarely came here. The ferocious men on the side of the road looked at Ling Xiao, Master Jiaomu, and the others with confusion in their eyes. Why would such a noble young master come to a place like North City? Ling Xiao's body exuded a powerful aura. In an instant, those malicious gazes were retracted as if they were startled. After passing through a dark alley, Ling Xiao followed Ling Feng to a small courtyard at the end. This small courtyard looked simple and crude, but it was kept very clean. There were a few plum blossoms in the courtyard, adding some warmth under the winter sun. "Big brother Leng is back." Immediately, a few dirty children darted out of the small courtyard, hugging Ling Feng's legs and holding his hands. There was even one who hung on Ling Feng's body like a teddy bear, their faces filled with anxiety. These few children looked to be no more than 6 or 7 years old. Each of them looked very smart. There was even a little girl with her hair tied up in pigtails, holding a pacifier in her mouth as she extended her arms towards Ling Feng. "Big brother Leng, quickly go and take a look at Auntie. Auntie is sick again. She's so cold. We've made so many fires, but it's useless," the little girl said coquettishly, her big eyes filled with anxiety. "Yan Yan, be good. I'll go take a look now." Ling Feng's eyes revealed a hint of gentleness. He removed the few frisky monkeys from his body, then quickly walked into the house. Inside the house, there were more than 10 braziers. The charcoal emitted a warm glow, but there wasn't a trace of warmth in the room. It was even colder than outside, making one shiver involuntarily. A middle-aged woman was lying on the bed. Her features were picturesque, and she looked calm and gentle. Although she seemed to have gone through the vicissitudes of life, one could tell that she must have been a beauty when she was young. However, she didn't seem to be in a good condition now. Her face was very pale, without a trace of blood. Her lips were purple, and although she was covered with a few blankets, she was still trembling slightly. Mother, what's wrong?" Leng Feng's face was filled with anxiety. He quickly walked over and grabbed the middle-aged woman's hand. It was bone-piercing cold to the touch, and there was a chill that penetrated one's heart. However, Madame Leng didn't react at all. Her eyes were tightly shut, and she looked so haggard that it made one's heart ache. Don't touch her. She's already fainted. Move aside, let me take a look. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. When he saw Madame Leng's current condition, his gaze instantly turned serious. Leng Feng's face was filled with anxiety and apprehension. He could only look at Ling Xiao and Master Jiao Mu with anticipation. Master Jiao Mu was a famous alchemist in the capital. Perhaps he could really cure his mother's illness. However, to Leng Feng's surprise, Master Jiao Mu stood there with a smile on his face, not moving. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, sat by the bed and placed a finger on Madame Leng's wrist. Could it be that the one treating his mother wasn't Master Jiao Mu, but Ling Xiao? Leng Feng's eyes were filled with shock. Ling Xiao didn't care about Leng Feng's shock. A trace of dazzling golden gang qi entered Madame Leng's body and began investigating. Ling Zhao's brows furrowed as he did so. It's really the cold miasma poison. Ling Xiao opened his eyes. There was a glint in his eyes. Cold miasma poison. What's that? It wasn't just Ling Feng. Even Master Jiao Mu's eyes were filled with doubt. He had never heard of the cold miasma poison before. Ling Feng, Madame Leng isn't sick. She's poisoned. Judging from her condition, she must have been poisoned 2 years ago when she went to the fearsome Beast Mountain range. However, she only came into contact with a trace of the miasma then. In addition, her cultivation is also very high. That's why she could hold on for so long. Ling Xiao said slowly. Ling Xiao could sense that Madame Leng was also a grandmaster. However, now that she had been corroded by the cold miasma, she was even weaker than an ordinary person. Her flame of life was extremely weak, as if it would be extinguished at any time. Chapter 212. Young Master Ling, what is the cold miasma? Master Jiao Mu asked curiously. The cold miasma can be considered a type of poison, but it can also be considered a type of energy. It's a type of energy formed in places where the stars gather and where the coldest is. Earth chi rises and miasma intersects. However, this type of energy is highly toxic to ordinary people. If one comes into contact with it, one's cultivation will be crippled. In serious cases, one will be corroded to death by the miasma. Madame Leng only came into contact with the cold miasma once, but after such a long period of corrosion, she's already on the verge of death. Ling Xiao sighed softly. What? Young Master Ling, I've looked for many famous doctors, but they all said that my mother has contracted a cold disease and can only be slowly nursed back to health. This bunch of quacks is really harmful. Leng Feng's eyes revealed a trace of murderous intent as he spoke coldly. At the same time, he felt a trace of relief. Fortunately, he met Ling Xiao today. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. You can't blame them. After all, I've never heard of the cold miasma before. It's understandable that those doctors don't know about it. Master Jiao Mu sighed. Is there a way to neutralize the cold miasma? Ling Feng looked at Ling Xiao expectantly. Yes. Ling Xiao smiled, and instantly, Ling Feng's body trembled. His eyes revealed a trace of excitement. Young Master Ling, please save my mother. My life belongs to you in the future. Ling Feng knelt on the ground with a pleading expression. Get up first. Don't kneel for no reason. Remember, a man has gold under his knees. You can kneel to the heavens, earth, and your parents. Other than that, no one else is worthy of your kneeling. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he raised his hand. Instantly, a surge of divine energy lifted Ling Feng up. Yes, young Master Ling. Ling Feng straightened his body and revealed a trace of gratitude in his eyes. Alright, I'm going to neutralize the poison for Madame Leng. Protect me and don't disturb me. Ling Xiao said with a smile. The cold miasma was extremely difficult for others to neutralize. Even if a Heaven Realm elite was infected with the cold miasma, they would have no way to neutralize it. However, Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring secret skill was the nemesis of all strange energies and poisons. There was nothing that could not be devoured by the secret skill. The reason why Ling Xiao valued the cold miasma was the poison was because wherever the cold miasma appeared, there would definitely be the 9 heaven spirit herb. The cold miasma in Madame Ling's body gave Ling Xiao hope of Qi of B. Of the. Of was absorbed was. Of. In was. Ins. After the heaven-devouring spiritual seed was perfected, Ling Xiao was able to control the heaven-devouring true qi more freely. The heaven-devouring true qi followed the meridians and spread toward the cold miasma in Madame Leng's body. Madame Leng's body was in a terrible condition. The cold miasma had taken over all the meridians in her body. Only the last of her origin true qi was protecting her heart meridian. She was in a precarious situation. Once the cold miasma broke through her heart meridian, even Ling Xiao would not be able to do anything. Therefore, Ling Xiao was very careful. He did not dare to cause the cold miasma to go berserk. He could only think of ways to devour the cold miasma bit by bit. The cold miasma was a strange energy formed by the fusion of the 9 heaven star energy, the extreme yin cold qi, and the miasma in the earth vein. It was very domineering. Once infected, there was no way to neutralize it. Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring true qi was the nemesis of the cold miasma. The heaven-devouring true qi spread out and formed a tiny golden vortex in Madame Leng's body. Traces of the cold miasma were sucked into the vortex and neutralized. After being corroded by the cold miasma for 2 years, the meridians in Madame Leng's body were very weak. Ling Xiao did not dare to be careless. Just like that, Ling Xiao used the heaven-devouring true qi to slowly refine the cold miasma and cleanse the poison in Madame Leng's meridians. After a few hours, the cold miasma in Madame Leng's meridians were completely cleansed. The heaven-devouring true qi was like a sweet rain. It merged into Madame Leng's meridians and started to repair the damage. Only the last ball of cold miasma surrounded Madame Leng's heart meridian, emitting a cold and evil aura. Ling Xiao's heaven-devouring true qi shone with a golden light. It was like a huge golden net, silently enveloping the cold miasma. Devour! Ling Xiao shouted in his heart. Instantly, all the heaven-devouring true qi exploded and enveloped the ball of cold miasma. It was then pulled into the golden vortex to be refined. Phew! After a long time, Ling Xiao exhaled and opened his eyes. There was a hint of fatigue in his eyes. Even though Ling Xiao was very energetic, he had to be extremely careful for such a long period of time. Although he managed to get rid of the cold miasma in the end, Ling Xiao still expended a lot of energy. It was no different from a huge battle. Young Master Ling, how was it? Ling Feng asked anxiously when he saw Ling Xiao open his eyes. After waiting for such a long time, Ling Feng didn't even dare to breathe loudly. He was afraid that it would affect Ling Xiao's treatment of his mother. He was also extremely anxious and wanted to know the result. Fortunately, I didn't let you down. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ling Feng relaxed instantly. It was as though a huge rock had been lifted from his heart. His eyes were filled with gratitude. Young Master Ling, thank you. Ling Feng was so emotional that he didn't know what to say. You're welcome. Take good care of your mother. She should be waking up soon. I still have something to do, so I won't stay. Ling Xiao patted Ling Feng's shoulder and smiled. Ling Feng was stunned. He quickly said, Young Master Ling, you're leaving already. I haven't treated you properly. There's no need. We'll have plenty of chances in the future. If you want to look for me, just come to the demon mansion directly. When the time comes, I'll give you a great opportunity. However, you still have to be careful of Qin Feng. This isn't a place to stay for long. Ling Xiao interrupted Ling Feng and smiled lightly. Yes, young Master Ling. Ling Feng nodded. The gratitude in his eyes was indescribable. Ling Xiao and Master Jiao Mu left quickly. Ling Xiao originally planned to ask Madame Leng where she was poisoned by the cold miasma after she woke up. He wanted to use that to find the 9 heavens spirit-dissolving herb. However, after Ling Xiao completely removed the cold miasma in Madame Leng's body, he felt as though he was on the verge of a breakthrough. Chapter 213. Ling Xiao quickly returned to Demon King Manor. He did not have time to greet Li Ling and the rest. He only told Master Jiao Mu that he was going into seclusion and entered a secret chamber. Wang! Ling Xiao's body shone with a faint golden light. The golden light was in the shape of a dragon. It looked very mysterious. Ling Xiao's body exuded a faint fragrance. His skin was as clear as jade, and there was a boiling blood qi around him. The roar of a dragon could be heard faintly. The Jiao dragon body has finally reached the Great Perfection realm. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of excitement. The secret skill of the ancestral dragon was extremely difficult to cultivate. Not only did it require a large amount of resources, but it also required a meticulous tempering of the body. The human body was like a small universe that reflected the universe of heaven and earth. It was extremely complex and precise. The secret skill of the ancestral dragon was the evolution of the physical body. Hence, Ling Xiao's every step was extremely solid. Even though his blood had already transformed into the Jiao dragon's blood and his Jiao dragon body had reached the Great Perfection realm, Ling Xiao was not in a hurry to break through. He continued to temper his body, purify his blood qi, and improve his physical strength. Today, Ling Xiao's physical body had finally reached the pinnacle. He also felt that his Jiao dragon body had reached the Great Perfection realm. His body was flawless and exuded a faint fragrance. This was the sign of the sage body. This meant that Ling Xiao had taken a firm step on the path of physical cultivation. The second level of the secret skill of the ancestral dragon is the earth dragon body. After cultivating the earth dragon body, not only will my physical defense increase greatly, my life source will also become stronger and my recovery will be stronger. This also means that I will be able to explode with greater strength in battle. The most important thing is that after cultivating the earth dragon body, I will be able to unleash my true strength. The Wan Shou sect will definitely be pleasantly surprised in a month's time. Ling Xiao thought to himself. His eyes were as bright as a golden lamp. The earth dragon body required 1 million peerless grade spirit stones, various spiritual herbs, and the most precious blood essence of the rank 6 demonic beast, the chaotic world demonic ape. Ling Xiao had already prepared them. Now that he felt that his Jiao dragon body had reached the Great Perfection realm, he planned to break through. Whoosh! 1 million peerless grade spirit stones flew out of the longevity ring and landed around Ling Xiao. He then set up a small spirit gathering formation. 1 million pinnacle grade spirit stones was enough for an evolved Jing realm expert to break through several realms. But to Ling Xiao, that was just one of the conditions to cultivate the earth dragon body. Rumble. As the spirit gathering array was activated, the void trembled slightly. In an instant, an endless amount of spirit qi gushed out as if it had turned into a fog, gushing madly into Ling Xiao's body. The earth dragon comes out of the great lake, moving the heaven and earth. Dragon and tiger work together, qi and blood soar to the heavens. In Ling Xiao's heart, the secrets of cultivating the earth dragon constitution appeared. Ancient runes that seemed to contain the mysteries of heaven and earth slowly merged into Ling Xiao's body like small golden dragons. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the void, emitting an ancient, mysterious, and domineering aura. Ling Xiao's body began to surge with a mysterious yellow light, faintly revealing mysterious runes. Rumble! At the same time, Ling Xiao spat out a five-colored flame from his mouth. It spun slowly in the air, and the light was dense. It swept up the spiritual herbs and turned them into the purest essence of the spiritual herbs, which was integrated into Ling Xiao's body. Whoosh! Ling Xiao's body trembled slightly, and the ground beneath him began to crack. Wisps of heaven and earth qi were emitted, and they were being devoured and refined by Ling Xiao. The capital city was originally the land of the dragon veins of the Great Desolation ancient country. It contained a vast amount of dragon veins earth qi, which was extremely helpful for Ling Xiao's cultivation of the earth dragon constitution. Behind Ling Xiao, golden blood qi filled the air, boiling like a great river. It distorted the void and faintly formed a dragon-shaped shadow. When the dragon-shaped shadow gradually solidified, it was like an earth dragon that had awoken from ancient times. A ferocious aura filled the air, causing Ling Xiao's aura to change drastically. Swoosh! The golden chaotic world demonic ape's blood essence flowed with the luster of flames. It floated in front of Ling Xiao, and it was instantly devoured by the dragon-shaped shadow behind him. Bang! 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 It was as if the heavens were beating the drums, and the ground trembled. Ling Xiao's body seemed to be covered in flames, and in an instant, the golden glow was incomparably dazzling. It was surrounded by chaotic mist, and it turned into a huge golden vortex, which began to devour the dragon veins earth qi. Wisps of heaven and earth qi surged, and the ground trembled slightly. Along with Ling Xiao's breathing, the heaven and earth qi rose, and the scene was majestic. The aura on Ling Xiao's body was getting more and more intense, and he was undergoing a transformation. His body glowed, and there was a golden dragon-shaped aura flowing in his blood. A strange mark appeared between his eyebrows, and it looked like a dragon, a sword, and a vertical eye. It was mysterious and unfathomable. Roar! In the end, the aura on Ling Xiao's body rose to the maximum, and a dragon roar resounded once again. It was as if it had turned into a strange sound wave, and it shook the ground, spreading to an endless distance. Rumble! The ground trembled violently, and the heaven and earth qi gushed towards Ling Xiao in a frenzy. In the end, it seemed to have turned into a substance, and it contained incomparably pure energy. Ling Xiao was like a black hole, and he devoured the endless heaven and earth qi. The heaven-devouring spiritual seed refined the heaven and earth qi, and in the end, it turned into the purest energy and merged into his body. Crack! It was as if some kind of bottleneck had been broken, and Ling Xiao's cultivation instantly broke through to level 2 Dragon Tiger realm. Ling Xiao's cultivation had already reached the peak of level 1 Dragon Tiger realm, and under the stimulation of such pure heaven and earth qi, he naturally broke through. Moreover, as a large amount of heaven and earth qi was refined by Ling Xiao, his cultivation also began to rise rapidly. Initial level 2 Dragon Tiger realm, intermediate level 2 Dragon Tiger realm, advanced level 2 Dragon Tiger realm, peak level 2 Dragon Tiger realm. Level 3 Dragon Tiger realm. Ling Xiao's cultivation was rising faster and faster. His entire person seemed to have entered a state of enlightenment, and he forgot about everything around him. It was a mystery within a mystery. The Great Barren Ancient Kingdom had existed for tens of thousands of years, and as the dragon vein of the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, the capital city had accumulated endless heaven and earth qi for tens of thousands of years. This heaven and earth qi was related to the illusory fate of the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, and at the same time, it was also a kind of origin energy. However, this kind of energy was extremely difficult to absorb and refine, and ordinary people would not dare to refine it. After all, the dragon vein was the lifeblood of the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom, so who would dare to touch it? Boom! After a few hours, when Ling Xiao's cultivation broke through to level 4 Dragon Tiger realm, he suddenly heard a furious dragon roar coming from the depths of the earth. Roar! That dragon roar was obscure and mysterious, but it made people feel as if they had fallen into an icy abyss, as if they were being stared at by an ancient ferocious beast, and their hair stood on end. Is this the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom's dragon vein? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he felt a sense of spirituality from the dragon roar. He did not expect that after tens of thousands of years, the dragon vein of the great barren ancient kingdom had actually given birth to the radiance of spirituality. If it was given enough time, wouldn't this dragon vein ride the wind and transform into a dragon and soar above the 9 heavens? Chapter 214. Bastard, you're courting death. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. The dragon veins of the 8 great ancient countries in the 8 Desolates region were left behind by Ling Xiao and the Changsun sect. How dare this dragon vein attack Ling Xiao? It must be tired of living. Just as Ling Xiao was about to use his means, the space between his eyebrows suddenly became scorching hot. A strange black light flew out from the mysterious mark and instantly blended into the earth. Roar! The earth trembled, and the dragon vein trembled. This time, the dragon roar seemed to contain a wave of fear. It actually quieted down in an instant, no longer caring if Ling Xiao was devouring the Xianhuang earth qi. There was no movement at all. The mysterious mark between Ling Xiao's eyebrows dimmed and slowly hid itself. This is, Ling Xiao's heart trembled. He felt a vicissitude, ancient, mysterious and noble aura from the mysterious mark between his eyebrows. It was as if it was a real dragon in the legends. It had actually forced the dragon vein to retreat. At the same time, in this ethereal state, Ling Xiao felt as if there was a trace of black light surging in his blood. Although it was very weak, it was indeed there. It was like a shackle that tightly locked the qi and blood in his body and locked up a mysterious power. The power of the blood. And it's sealed. This blood is very similar to the blood of the legendary dragon clan. Who is my mother? Ling Xiao's heart was filled with deep doubts. Previously, Ling Xiao thought that it was because he had cultivated the secret skill of the ancestral dragon that he could exude the power of the dragon and frighten the demonic beasts in the fearsome Beast Mountain range. However, it was only at this moment that he realized that there was truly something incredible within his bloodline. Even the dragon vein of the earth had been scared away by him. Boom! At this moment, the secret chamber was filled with endless heaven and earth qi. It was like a mist that surged into Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao was bathed in golden light. His body was as clear as jade and exuded a faint fragrance. The dragon-shaped shadow behind him seemed to have really awakened from the endless time and space. It was vivid and lifelike and its aura was unfathomable. Crack! In Ling Xiao's body, it was as if some mysterious shackle had been unlocked. His blood began to boil, and drops of faint golden blood flashed. In the end, they gathered crazily towards his heart and began to emit endless rays of light. At Ling Xiao's heart, there seemed to be a drop of golden blood in the shape of a dragon. In that instant, the void trembled, and an ancient and mysterious aura emanated from Ling Xiao's body. It was unfathomable. At the same time, the entire royal capital seemed to be alarmed. Just now, the entire royal capital had trembled. Thunder had exploded in the air, and an angry dragon roar had come from the depths of the earth. In the depths of the palace, in a secret room surrounded by raging flames, a middle-aged man in a black and white Taoist robe opened his eyes. His bright and wise eyes were filled with astonishment. The wrath of the dragon veins? Who was it that dared to provoke the dragon vein? The royal capital is becoming more and more restless. There seemed to be lightning flashing between the middle-aged man's nose and mouth. As he breathed in and out, the earth trembled, making him seem incomparably mysterious. I have to break through as soon as possible. This time, Qing Qing has obtained the resurrection grass. Everything is ready. I just need to break through to the realm of Supreme Alchemy Master and refine the resurrection pill. The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a glimmer of light, but he slowly closed them again. In the Wanshou sect's in. The aura of the dragon vein. The dragon vein in the royal capital is protected by powerful restrictions. Even the Wanshou sect can't do anything about it. Who was it that alarmed the dragon vein? He Qing opened his eyes, and there was a trace of bewilderment in his eyes. In the spiritual medicine pavilion. Spiritual Master Chun Yang had a ruddy complexion and white hair. His eyes were old and wise, and he exuded an otherworldly aura. At this moment, there was lightning flashing between his nose and mouth, and his body was filled with a mysterious energy. If Ling Xiao were here, he would definitely notice that Spiritual Master Chun Yang's mental strength was as vast as the sea. It was unparalleled. The dragon vein is moving, and the world is in chaos. This land is going to be restless again, the old voice echoed, and it was accompanied by a sigh. Then, it slowly calmed down. While the dragon vein was raging and the earth was trembling, Ling Xiao didn't know that countless powerful people in the royal capital were awakened with shock. After all, the dragon vein in the royal capital was too precious. Not only did it involve the fate of the great desolation ancient country, but it was also a natural treasure ground. It gathered the essence of heaven and earth, and the experts in the royal capital far surpassed those in other places. Once something happened to the dragon vein, the mountains and rivers would shatter, and the universe would tremble. Something terrifying would happen. Therefore, many people were nervous. There were even powerful martial artists who began to investigate the land, wanting to know what was happening to the dragon vein. However, the initiator of all this, Ling Xiao, didn't know what was happening in the outside world. He was immersed in his cultivation and forgot about everything. Rumble. Golden lightning flashed around Ling Xiao, and chaos filled the air. There was a faint golden dragon that shook the heavens and earth, and it exuded the same aura as Ling Xiao. Roar. In the end, a clear dragon roar resounded. Thousands of rays of auspicious light filled the air, and divine light rose. The golden dragon phantom instantly merged into Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao's internal organs, muscles, bones, skin, and even meridians and acupoints began to emit rays of light. They were nourished by the powerful qi of heaven and earth, and became incomparably tough and solid. Whoosh! Ling Xiao opened his eyes, and 2 rays of golden light shot out. They were like 2 dragons, and there was a slight explosion in the void. The earth dragon body was finally a success. Ling Xiao stood up, and he felt the boundless qi and blood in his body. His entire body was filled with endless power. He felt that he could destroy a mountain with a single punch. Is this the power of the earth dragon body? If Shi Tian were to land in front of me now, I wouldn't even need to use the 4 divisions sky striking style. I would be able to destroy him with just the strength of my physical body. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly, and a strong sense of confidence spread out. The earth dragon body was stronger than the water dragon body in 2 aspects. One was its defense, and the other was its recovery. Previously, when Ling Xiao's water dragon body was complete, his physical strength was very strong. However, it was only his skin, muscles, and bones. His internal organs were very weak. If he were to encounter an expert, his internal organs would be easily injured. However, the earth dragon body not only strengthened Ling Xiao's skin, muscles, and bones, but also nourished his internal organs. It made him as tough as diamond, and his entire body was like a golden stone. His defense was extremely terrifying. As for recovery, with Ling Xiao's powerful life force, as long as his limbs were not chopped off, his head was chopped off, or his heart was shattered, he would be able to quickly recover from any ordinary injuries. He took out a short sword, infused it with Xiantian Gang Qi, and painstakingly cut open the skin on his arm. In the end, a ray of golden light flashed, and the wound was instantly healed. This kind of crazy recovery also greatly increased Ling Xiao's combat strength. Earth Dragon Body, Level 4 Dragon Tiger Realm. Although my current combat strength is still not comparable to a Celestial Realm expert, there is no one in the Grandmaster Realm who can threaten me. Ling Xiao thought to himself. At the same time, he had obtained the Divine Essence of Sun and the Divine Essence of Sun from the auction. As long as he could combine Yin and Yang and refine the Yin-Yang spiritual seed, Ling Xiao's Devouring Heaven's secret skill would definitely be able to break through to the 2nd level. At that time, he might even be able to fight a celestial realm expert. However, to refine the yin-yang spiritual seed, I have to find a place where yin and yang converge, a place where dragons and tigers coexist. There is no way to break through in the capital city. It seems that I have to make a trip to the fearsome Beast Mountain. 1 month later, the Wanshou sect, I believe you will get a big surprise. Chapter 2:15. Ling Xiao opened the secret chamber and found Li Ling, Lu Xiongfei, and Meng Ao standing outside, looking anxious and worried. Seeing Ling Xiao come out, Li Ling immediately stepped forward and asked, "Son, are you okay? When you were cultivating in seclusion, the earth trembled as if there was an earthquake. The entire capital was shaken. It is said that someone disturbed the dragon vein and angered it. Saint Child, could it be you who caused this?" Li Ling, Lu Xiongfei, and Meng Ao were all shocked. The scene of the earth shaking and the mountains shaking like an earthquake was too terrifying. It was accompanied by the angry roar of the dragon, causing everyone in the imperial capital to tremble in fear. Li Ling was originally protecting Ling Xiao, and the tremor from the secret chamber was the strongest. Therefore, he guessed that it might have been caused by Ling Xiao. "I'm fine. Nothing happened in the imperial capital, right?" Ling Xiao smiled and said noncommittally. The imperial capital was only shaken, and the dragon vein was very angry. It seems that someone stole the earth chi of the dragon vein. Many people are guessing who has the ability to do so. Li Ling's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. At the same time, his heart was in turmoil. Looking at Ling Xiao, he knew that the dragon vein's riot might have something to do with Ling Xiao. The dragon's vein in the capital city had been nurtured for 10,000 years and was protected by a grand matrix. Even noble plane cultivators couldn't do anything about it. Over the years, there had been people who wanted to take the dragon's vein, but unfortunately, they all failed. Ling Xiao was only in the dragon-tiger realm, but he was able to steal the earth chi of the dragon vein. This method was simply shocking. "Uncle Meng, Uncle Lu, have you recovered from your injuries?" Ling Xiao looked at Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Lu Xiongfei and Meng Ao had taken the healing elixirs that Ling Xiao had left behind. In addition, Ling Xiao and Li Ling had healed them. Although they looked a little weak, their complexions were much better. It would not be long before they completely recovered. "This injury is nothing." Meng Ao patted his chest and laughed heartily. "Young master, I didn't expect you to have grown to this extent in 3 years. If His Highness knew, he would be very pleased." Meng Ao's face revealed a trace of emotion. Previously, when Ling Xiao appeared at the Ling family's year-end competition, Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei both broke out in cold sweat, afraid that Ling Xiao would meet with some accident. However, Ling Xiao had surprised them again and again. Not only had he suppressed Ling Tianxi, but he had also defeated Shi Tianluo in a battle. With the cultivation of the Dragon Tiger tier, he was able to defeat Shi Tianluo, who was more than a dozen tiers above him. This kind of talent was simply breathtaking, and even Meng Ao was deeply shocked. The most despicable one is the Wanshou sect. They are too overbearing and arrogant. "Young master, although the pure young spiritual master intervened at that time and stopped He Qing, they definitely won't let the matter rest. They might send the legendary Dragon Sun and Phoenix Sun for the life and death duel a month later. That will be troublesome." Lu Xiongfei's eyes revealed a trace of worry. "Dragon Child and Phoenix Child?" A glint flashed across Ling Xiao's eyes. "That's right. In the Wanshou sect, there are 7 strongest and most talented true disciples. They are called the Wanshou 7. Actually, Shi Tianluo is the weakest of the Wanshou 7. He was promoted to the Wanshou 7 because he has the heavenly serpent bloodline. However, the 6 people before him are all much stronger than him. Especially the Dragon Sun and Phoenix Sun. It is said that they are already heaven-tier elites and have cultivated the heaven-tier martial arts of the Wanshou sect. They are very powerful. Lu Xiongfei explained. The Dragon Sun and Phoenix Sun probably won't fight. Both of them are the core members of the Wanshou sect. It is said that the competition for the position of young master has been very intense recently, so they probably don't have time to come to the Great Barren Ancient Kingdom. Moreover, He Qing said that he would send disciples below the heaven tier to fight with the saint. If the Dragon Sun and Phoenix Sun fight, regardless of whether they win or lose, the Wanshou sect will lose face. After all, it would not look good for a heaven tier elite to bully a Dragon Tiger tier martial artist. Therefore, it is most likely that the Wanshou sect will send the third or fourth disciple of the Wanshou Seven to fight. Li Ling suddenly spoke and analyzed. Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei were stunned and nodded. They felt that Li Ling's words made sense. However, it is said that the Tiger King and the Spirit Tortoise, who are ranked third among the 7,000 Beasts disciples, have both reached the peak of the 9th level of the Master Realm and have cultivated heaven-tier martial arts. Their combat strength is not something that Sky Descending Snake can compare to. Meng Ao and Lu Xiongfei were still worried. After all, the Wanshou sect was the holy land of martial arts in the Eight Desolates region. They were the overlord of the world and had many elites in the sect. They had been infamous for hundreds of years and made people feel an invisible pressure. Don't worry. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and exuded a strong sense of confidence. He said, since I dared to set the date for the death duel in a month, I naturally have a certain level of confidence. After a month, no matter who the Wanshou sect sends, they will definitely die. For some reason, after hearing Ling Xiao's words, Li Ling, Meng Ao, and Lu Xiongfei felt an inexplicable sense of confidence. Your Highness, there is a person named Ling Feng outside the mansion who wishes to see you. At this moment, a member of the Ling family walked over and looked at Ling Xiao with respect. In the Ling family, Ling Yunxiang and Ling Tianxi had been killed by the people of the underworld. The rest of the family members had been carefully selected by Master Jiao Mu and Li Ling. Master Jiao Mu's mental strength was strong and he had cultivated the secret spiritual skill that Ling Xiao had imparted to him. Li Ling's heart of sword was the best at seeing through people's evil intentions. Therefore, among the Ling family members, those with evil intentions were all eliminated and chased out of the demon mansion. As for the remaining Ling family members, they were both respectful and afraid of Ling Xiao. They all did things carefully and did not dare to make the slightest mistake. If it were not for Ling Zhen, Ling Xiao would not have wanted any of the Ling family members. However, among the children of the Ling family, Ling Xiao had found a few good seedlings and was prepared to nurture them and send them to the longevity sect. Alright, I got it. Go and invite him in. Ling Xiao was slightly taken aback. He did not expect Ling Feng to come so quickly. In the main hall of the mansion, Ling Xiao saw Ling Feng, who was dressed in black, and a middle-aged woman in plain clothes. She looked calm and gentle, but she was slightly weak. She was Madame Leng, who Ling Xiao had treated previously. Mother, he is the Demon King, Ling Xiao. Seeing Ling Xiao appear, Ling Feng's eyes flashed as he said to Madame Leng. The Demon King is actually so young. Madame Leng's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. She did not expect Ling Xiao to be so young. Greetings, Your Highness. Your Highness saved Ling Feng and cured my poison. Even if the Ling family were to sacrifice our lives, we would not be able to repay Your Highness' kindness. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.